What's up, everybody? Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I greatly appreciate seeing you all here in the chat. Sorry if we look like it. Whoa. Oh, wait. That's why I got an echo. Newbie mistake. Sorry about that, everybody. Newbie freaking mistake. I had the live going on in another window as well. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. I greatly appreciate seeing a lot of awesome faces in the chat tonight, even some faces I have not seen in a while in the chat. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Got Erica and David of EDGExotics. I'm looking forward to getting to know them a little bit more. Got to talk to them at the Gettysburg Reptile Expo. Here, the last show would have been, I'm going to draw a blank, and Joe's probably going to hate me for it. Can't remember what month it was, but at the last Gettysburg show is where I met these fine folks, and we just got to talking. It was really good conversations, and it's like, you know what? Give them a forewarning. It's like, I'm going to hit you guys up to come on this show. So here they are. Welcome them, everybody, for the first time to the stage. Erica David, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
You guys have brought out some people I have not seen either in the chat or I have not seen in the chat in a while. So obviously people know who you are.
Getting there.
Yeah, we're trying. We got a few good people that support what we do, and obviously we support them. So it's cool to see that we actually have a little bit of a presence here. So
So you brought out some names that, like I said, I haven't seen in the chat before or for a while. Let's go through and say hello to everybody that is here. Lexi, my dear niece, thank you very much for tuning in, girl. Good to see you. I hope you and your dad and mom and sister are doing good. Even though you guys are just literally across the river, I rarely get to see you. It's very sad. I really wish I got to see you guys more. Red Moon Royals, thank you very much for tuning in. That, I believe, is a new face in the chat. So thank you very much, Red Moon, for tuning in. Definitely make sure you hit that subscribe. Everybody, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, please. Get awesome guests every Sunday. Every once in a while, you guys got to deal with my ugly mug and listen to me babble for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes even 3 hours. But definitely make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, please. Gray Rider Reptiles, Charlie, what's going on? Thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are also on my list to get on this show. So hopefully when I do send that invite out, you accept it. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. My brother and sister, Jeff and Angie of Celtic Balls, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Wish I could. Yeah, no, she's all curled up in the cave. Sister, let me tell you, your carpet girl is out basking underneath the light a little bit today, and she looks plump. She's ready to burst. So I think it's Wednesday the eggs are due, the 19th, whatever day the 19th is. We are due to have our first carpet clutch. Super excited for that one. Let's see here. The real... We're gonna really screw that one up. But Johnny, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. I already know I'm gonna screw that up. The real Janice. Yeah, I'm sorry but Johnny, thank you very much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. KG&D Bomb Projects. Put a bomb in it, folks. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. They see my guy David in the house.
Love KG&D. Their energy is awesome.
Dude, they're on my list to have on this show too this year. So hopefully when I send them the invite, they accept it as well. But I'm pretty sure they will because they are just awesome folks like that.
Absolutely.
D&K, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Kevin, what's up, dude? Good to see you in the chat. I thought I'd never see you again since your work schedule got kind of all screwed up. Don, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Tammy, what's going on? Let's see here. Uniquely Mutated Morse, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in.
Love that emoji.
Yeah.
Charlie says, best part is that I'm watching on my TV and the comments cover David.
Right, that's the better looking part anyway, so it's all right.
Let's see, if my wife was part of the team, it would probably be the same thing too. And nobody would want to see me; they just want to see her. John and Christine, what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you in the chat. Sean, what's up? Tell your wife her babies are on the way. Jeff and Angie say we are so excited for her. Our first acid clutch is in pre-lay shed, and the other two are right behind her. Nice. Yes, I like the we've my sister Angie. She wanted a carpet python in the worst way, and I told we worked out a deal. I still think like they're still treating me way too good on it, but they're treating me an acid male so I can get acid into my Xanthic stuff for a carpet python. So, like, I'm just super thankful for it. I'm really excited because she should be able to pick it up and take it home with her at our breeder barbecue in July.
Nice. It's a pretty good trade on your part. I'm not gonna lie. I think you
I
have the benefit of the deal.
I try,
side of
man.
it.
I tried to offer that. I was like, I even told him, I was like, this isn't like a really fair trade. It's like, I got to give you guys like something else on top of this. And like, they won't have it. So I'm at some way, shape, or form going to make it up to them just because, like you said, like it's, yeah. But hey, they're my brother and sister. So I'm going to try to take care of them as best as I can. Reptile Creations, thanks for tuning in. What's going on? Empire State Exotics, what's going on? That is a new face in the chat as well. Please hit that subscribe button. And I do believe you guys were on my list to have on too. I'm trying to think. I think I got your stickers up here on the wall somewhere. M&K Exotics, what's going on? Kike, my brother, what's going on? Congrats on the first clutch, dude. Congrats. I wish you had audio there, dude. I'm in there trying to look inside the mags, and it's like, man, I can't tell what the pairing was, but definitely congrats, dude. I'm looking forward to the update. And yes, smash that like button, please. Angie Jeff said, we are family, brother. We are. Alex, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Alex is going to be on the show here in a couple weeks, so super excited to have him out and joining us. Okay, your mom's listening. Hi, Tina. Thanks for letting Lexi Lou listen to her dear uncle Jib Jab about something she probably doesn't really care about. But anyway, we've got 23 people in. Let's thank the sponsors of this week's episode, and then we're going to get this show rolling, folks. Let's see here. First off, I want to thank my good friend Nate at Infinite Possible Pythons. If he's basically a one-stop shop for all your branding needs. On top of it, he's working some killer ball python projects. And let me tell you, make sure you're following him because he's working some projects that nobody else remotely is working in. And you're going to want to be keeping an eye out for when he does finally release some of that stuff. Can't tell you what it is, but all I can say is you won't regret paying attention to that man. So definitely keep an eye out. Check it. All of his social media info is in the description down below. And like I said, if you need any branding needs, tablecloths, banners, business cards, T-shirts, anything show-wise, stuff like that, Nathan is the guy to go to. So definitely hit him up on that. And I haven't gotten to click this in a while. So let's run this one for my brother Chris at B&S Reptilia.
And this episode is sponsored by B&S Reptilia. B&S Reptilia, folks, let me tell you, is a one-stop shop for basically whatever you may need. If you're looking for ball pythons, Chris has it. He's working in so many different projects, and he's got amazing quality animals. He's also got blood pythons, gorgeous blood pythons. He's also working with different types of colubras, like Mexican black king snakes, bull snakes, pine snakes even. He's working a couple different boa projects, Australian species even, like Roma pythons and scrub pythons. He's got it all, folks. B&S Reptilia is one place you want to go to if you need a snake. And on top of it, he also supplies Eastern PA with different types of rodents like rats, ASFs. He's got it all. If you need cocoa, he is Pennsylvania's distributor of Cocoa to Go and the Chipper. So definitely do not miss out on what I consider by far the best cocoa substrate on the market. Chris sells it. Go to him. He is our distributor. And make sure you tell him Jeremy sent you from Morphles Morphs, because you might just get a little bit of a surprise if you tell him that. Thank you, Chris, for sponsoring this episode. I greatly appreciate it, brother.
Nathan, Chris, thank you very much for sponsoring this week's episode. Let me get rid of this here. I also want to put a couple of things out here as well. We are also partnered with Husbandry Pro, which if you're not using Husbandry Pro, definitely check it out. There's a link in the description down below for a free 30-day trial. It's the best reptile record keeping and tracking software on the market. It does things that Clutch doesn't do, and this thing is meant for use of any species, folks. So it's not just like it's ball pythons. You can use this for any species there is and track just about anything you want to track. Plus, this software is also being shaped by the people that are using it. So it's constantly improving and getting better and better every day and every week. So definitely check it out. Plus, there's like a mini store to it. So it's almost like having a morph market attached to your tracking software as well. So check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. Free 30-day trial. Yeah, what do you got to lose? And also, this is something new. We are not sponsored by Redline Shipping at all, but here's a code for 60% off. Good for 2 shipments, folks. 60% off Robin60. Definitely check out Redline Shipping. Like I said, we're not partnered with them yet. I'm trying to work on that one a little bit, but I will tell you this much. The shipments I've done with them so far have gone flawless, like no issues at all, and they have been the cheapest rates out of all the rates that I've shopped around with. So for all it's worth, you're going to get exactly what you need shipping-wise, and it's going to be the cheapest out there. So definitely check it out. Redline Shipping, quality shipping. And plus, you got all your shipping supplies from there too as well. So check them out. And all right, that's it, everybody. That's my spiel. We can get into learning more about these folks. Wow, we got a whole lot of people tuning in here. Sugar Skulls, what's up? Thanks for tuning in, Kevin. Let's see here. We got Ashley and Nikita. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. LKB, what's going on? All right. If I missed anybody, I apologize, but everybody's heard me ramble on here for a little too long. Let's get to know a little bit about Erica and David. So, guys, tell me what got you into the hobby? What made you kick it into breeder level instead of just staying at the whole pet keeper type of mentality?
So that is 100% my doing, in terms of I don't really know how to do anything at a very low or basic level. I kind of become obsessed with things. So anything that I do or anything I get into, I try to take it to maybe not a new level, but I try to get to a higher level in anything that I'm doing, whether it's video games, sports, anything. I always try to be near the top, right? So we ended up getting a pet ball python back in December of 2019. We wanted a pet. We're in an apartment. So, we're huge animal lovers as a whole, dogs in particular, we love, but in a small apartment, didn't really want to do that with a dog. We're also, we do a lot, right? We have a lot of friends. We go out a lot on the weekends. So there's often times that we're not home. And I started a new job last year in January. My work prior to that, I was working 12 to 14, 15-hour days. So we didn't think it would be fair to have a pet that needed us to walk it and take it out, right, as a dog. So we decided, hey, maybe something on the reptile side. I had a couple reptiles when I was younger. I had a poor California king snake that I feel bad to about till this day because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. The internet wasn't as helpful back then. So that poor thing struggled, naturally didn't really survive. Kind of got Erica into it. And this is a pretty cool story because Erica's never had a reptile, right? She's had hamsters and stuff like that. So I told her, hey, there's a couple local reptile stores near us. And I said, hey, let's go in. And we were looking at potentially geckos.
Okay.
So we get to this store, see the ball pythons. I'm doing my research, right? Kind of run down the rabbit hole. I ran into Brian Barczyk's video first, and then naturally through their recommended videos, we just see all these other ball python lists or videos, excuse me. So we're going through and we get to this store. I'm comfortable at the time holding snakes. I wouldn't say I was an expert, but comfortable enough. I don't even think Erica wanted to look at the snake, right? So she's like,
I was never afraid, but it was like, I'll appreciate it from afar. I don't need to touch it. I don't need to hold it, like that kind of thing. But
yeah, so we're here now, right? So I'm holding this ball python, and I had one that was very calm. It was nice. So I'm trying to get her to at least poke it, right? Just touch the damn thing. So near the end, she kind of, pokes it a little bit. And she's like, oh, it's not slimy. I don't know why, but everyone thinks snakes are slimy. It's like the number one. Yeah, it's like the number one thing. Everyone thinks oh, it's going to be slimy. She's like, oh, it's actually really smooth. Then it moved just like ever so slightly. She goes, yeah, I'm done.
Like, I'm good. That's my fill for today.
She's like, I'm good. So the next day I go to work, she goes to work, and I get a text from her. It's probably about midday. She goes, hey, can we go back to that reptile store today? I said, yeah, sure. She goes, I've been watching videos all morning, and I want to hold one. It's like, okay, you don't have to tell me twice. So I get home, we go to the store, and then this is the cool part. I'll let Erica tell it. Now we get to the store the second day, and it was like a completely different person from day one, right? So day one, she was super shy, timid, kind of stood away from it. And then day two, please.
Even the guy that was helping us, he was there again the next day, and I was like, all right, I'm ready. Like, give me one. And I held one of them. David had another one, and I was just like getting more comfortable, and it was moving in my hands. And I started like this, and then like I was slowly getting more and more comfortable.
Yeah, get closer.
And then by the end of our time there, like people were coming over and asking me about it, like, oh, what kind of snake is that? I'm like, oh, it's a ball python, and blah, blah, like I sound like an expert, like I've been doing it for years. And it was literally 24 hours later, and I just did a lot of research, and I got more comfortable. And my biggest thing was like I didn't want to get bit. I was like afraid of getting bit. But when I did the research, obviously you find out like they don't really bite all that often. You have certain things that may make them bite, but like the time we've been doing this, I think I've gotten bit twice, and they were both hatchlings, so it was like nothing, and one was kind of my own fault. I didn't take the cues, but anyway, it was just I got I just got more comfortable, and we ended up taking, well, we paid for it, and then we ended up taking one home a couple weeks later. Like we and everything, like let us get home. Let's get all its stuff together and get it, make sure it's all set before we bring him home. So we brought him home like a week or two later, I think.
Nice.
So, yeah, one snake got it all started.
So naturally we get a male, right? A male vanilla, because breeding at this point, that what is that? We're not going to breed the snake. We want one. It's going to go in a glass aquarium, proper setup, but that's it. We're good. I think 2 months later, I'm doing all this research, right? I used to take the train into work. I worked in Manhattan, so it's about an hour and a half train ride to and from. And I'm watching every YouTube video possible. And again, I'm watching the Miguels, the Justins. And I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. And so about 2 months later, I think Erica was away on vacation. And I was like, she was out with something. I was like, hey, I think I'm about to buy another snake. And she's like, what? So now we're having this text conversation. I'm like, yeah, I want to get into breeding. I already started looking it up. We need this. We need that. She's like,
I was like, can this wait until I get back?
She was like, yeah. Can it wait till I get back? I said, no. I'm just letting you know what you're walking back into, as opposed to kind of asking permission here. It's more of a, hey, just give you the heads up.
Just a heads up.
Yeah, it was more of a friendly, reminder kind of thing. Like, hey, this, when you get here, you might see something else. So, but no, we really did our research, and Bells and Pieds were kind of the first animals that we said, hey, we would like to produce, because I think aesthetically they're the most pleasing for a pet keeper or someone new. Who the heck has an all white snake with blue eyes, and then who has a pied, right? An animal that has part white, part color. Again, we're still figuring out the morphs and just all the basics, right? I mean, I've never had a ball python, neither has Erica, but it was just the most intriguing. So that's kind of the road we went down. But yeah, so quickly, 1 turned to 10 turned to, 20, 30, 50. I don't even remember certain numbers. I think it just jumped. It just kind of happened. So
it's like we blinked and we were full on breeders. So.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I do. The one thing with the whole biting thing, everybody at my work, that's the first thing they ask me. Even people that have already talked to me about it, it's almost like they forget sometimes. And they're like, well, don't you get bit? And I was like, well, sometimes I might get bit. They're like, well, doesn't it hurt? I was like, I'll take getting bit by a snake over any dog, cat, or anything like that. I was like, and then look at it, you're like, you got 6 heads. It's like, well, what do you think a snake, like, how bad do you think a snake bite really is? I mean, like, they don't, people demonize snakes for some reason. I don't understand why, but it's like I'll trust a snake over anything else.
They think it's going to take your arm off, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of people believe, like when we say we have snakes, they think we have anacondas.
Right.
So they think we have these gigantic, 20-foot snakes that are 200 pounds. And I said, no, guys, even as much as I love snakes, I wouldn't want to keep one. Imagine cleaning out those cages. No, thank you.
Oh God, I don't even want to think about spot cleaning.
Oh no. But I do have a funny story on bites, right? So I know they don't hurt, but I have an awful jump reflex. It is just
I'm with you on that.
horrible, right?
Both do.
So I'm cleaning out a pied last year. I've got it over like the sink, and I had to double check and to sex it, right? The hemipenes weren't really coming out easy. So I was like, is it a male? Is it not? Whatever. So I go to do it. This thing rears around, catches the tip of my finger. Doesn't hurt. I audibly yell out, ow. Why? I don't know. Didn't hurt. It was just more of a reflex. I flip it up because, again, jump reflex, right? This poor little 150-gram snake goes flying. I mean, it just launched. So it definitely hit the ceiling.
Quick disclaimer, it's fine. It wasn't.
So it definitely hits the ceiling, comes back down. I've got a tub in there that I was also cleaning out, pooled up with water. Thing lands right in the water. Splash. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, I just killed this thing. I think if the pied could talk or if it had hands, it would just look at me and go, wow.
Why?
And me?
Was it really that bad, dude?
We both gave each other kind of a look of like, I'm not really sure what happened. We're not going to talk about it. So I grabbed the snake. I continued. I popped it. I was like, okay, you are a male. At that point, you didn't bite me again. You just kind of
like, I'm good. I'll stay right.
He's like, all right, I'll let you see it. I'll let you see it.
Yeah. I think I showed him who's boss, So I put him back in the tub, close it, and I'm laughing at myself because I'm like, why did I just freak out and almost kill this poor thing? But it has everything to do with I have an awful jump reflex. And so that's what I tell people is probably the scariest part is just understanding that moving is going to cause more issues than just leave your hand there.
The first time I did it, we had I think it was a banana, and it was like, how they do sometimes, they like slithered right through their own poop and it's a hatchling, so it doesn't,
It
doesn't know the world yet, I guess. So it went right through. I'm trying to clean it off and I stressed it out, and I went to like cover it to calm it down, and I kept trying to clean it off and it just kept ignoring its stress signals, and I was trying to get away. I went like this, and as I went like this to cover it, to calm it down, it just boop, hit like right here, and I was just like, I was like, oh, that was nothing.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay. It looked worse than it was, but it was bleeding quite a bit. But once that stopped, I was like, oh, it's like nothing. And then I just felt a lot better after that anyway. Like I should have let one bite me a long time ago.
Well, when I was taming this guy down, his record was 10 bites and 1 handling. All right. And after that handling is when I decided, all right, we're going to try the glove trick and see if we can't get some better, more relaxed interactions. But it wasn't because it hurt. It was like I got tired of just bleeding all over the place. Like I came down after that one handling, and my hand was all like it was just blood all over the place. And my wife looked at me, and before she said anything, I was like, "It looks worse than what it is," because she was very skeptic on the snakes to begin with. I'd just gotten her to warm up to the ball pythons, and I was telling her, the carpet pythons are really awesome. I've always wanted them, and they're not that bad. Well, of course I get one that's got an attitude issue. And like I was ready for her to say, no, that thing's got to go. And so I explained it to her. I was like, it looks worse. Washed my hand off. I was like, look, you showed me where I got bit. You couldn't see where I got bit at all. But yeah, David, I know exactly what you're talking about. There were a few times where when he would strike, my instinct was to jerk my hand back real quick, and it took everything I had just to take the hit. But it doesn't hurt. It's that shock factor.
Yeah.
It's like,
right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I got popped by an adult, but by the time I reacted, she was done.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a funny one. She popped me and I didn't even get a chance to move. It just happened so fast. And I was like, okay, if I could keep that kind of reaction, because Erica was like, hey, good job for not moving. I was like, it happened so quick, I couldn't even register to move. I was like, I just stood there. I had no idea she was even going to tag me. So
now, was that pulling a clutch, or was that just regular going through?
Just regular. I was opening the tub. She was a brand new animal. She was probably about 1,000 grams, and she was sitting at the front end of the tub. And I went to open it to go refill water, and right as I was opening it, she caught my finger.
Sounds like she was hungry.
Right, yeah, didn't really. Yeah, well, she ended up eating, right? But yeah, no, and it's interesting. And again, that's kind of what we tell everyone, because again, are they slimy? And how bad are the bites? Like, are you afraid that it's going to take you out? I was like, look, if one of these things take me out, I was like, I deserve to go.
I've had a few people ask me, like, well, don't like, do you get them out and handle them? It's like, yeah, I get them out and handle them. Well, don't they try to size you up to see if they can eat you? It's like, what shows are you watching that you think, like, it's like snakes don't lay there and size you up. Snakes are opportunistic. It's like they don't think, can I eat this? They just go for it if that's what they want to do.
I was like, my ball pythons don't go after a 50-gram small rat that I put in the tub sometimes. They're not going to take me out. I'm well over, 220 pounds. I was like, I think I could take the snake if I needed to.
Yeah, push comes to shove, I think I might win that fight.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm betting on me in that fight. I think I could take it.
What up, Ken? Thanks for tuning in, bro. So how big's your collection right now? Because you said, I mean, it sounds like you guys were growing pretty rapidly. So where are you at right now, collection size, and how many breeder adults, hatchlings, and holdbacks, all that good stuff?
So we're right around 60 adults, some sub-adults, I think, and holdbacks were probably another 20, so about 80 in our collection at this moment. I don't want to go over 100 adults. That accounts for males, females. I don't want to hit past that. I really want to stick no more than 30 clutches per year. But I'd like to have that extra space so I could work different projects. So that way I'm not mirroring the same breedings every year. I mean, some of them are good enough that you can replicate it. But what I don't want to do is be a contributor to a saturating project if it's already been done a million times.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. There's Jeremy, Third Eye. What's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, hey. Yeah, we met them too at Gettysburg.
Oh, nice.
Really cool also. Hey, guys. How are you?
Now, I just got, brain fart. I apologize. It's been a long day. I don't know what's been up with me this weekend. Like, I've been just like dead to the world all weekend for some reason. What's your male to female ratio like? Because I know, like, when I started off, I was trying to set myself up right, and I had a few females end up becoming males because I finally learned to pop and what that was sold to, like, just miss ID on some of the breeders' ends, and I ended up slightly flipped on my ratio, and now I'm kind of backpedaling and correcting that. Actually, now I'm almost to where I need to be.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of thinking, I think we're at about 10 males, 8.
Okay.
The breeders this year, we're only breeding about 6 males.
Okay.
We have a couple that are growing up. So yeah, probably about 10 males in the whole collection, to about 50 females. So we are fortunate enough that when we started, first of all, we did a boatload of research. I mean, again, I told you I get obsessed. So I watched every video. It didn't matter if the video had 2 views or if it had 2 million. I watched every video. I wrote notes. I crossed my notes between videos, and whatever was overlapping, I was like, hey, there's got to be some truth to that, And I did a lot of work. We were very fortunate enough, and I tell this story all the time. I ended up meeting Reptile Creations through Facebook Marketplace. He's local to us. He's he's on Long Island. He's about 20 minutes away. And he had a couple of, racks for sale. I think it was like $500 for these little FB10 tubs. So, message him. Yeah, I got him available. We'll meet up. I told Erica, I said, hey, I'm going to go meet up with this guy, get these racks. Okay, cool. Like 2 hours later, we're just, we're still, I'm at his house. We're in the driveway just talking. We just kind of hit it off. And Erica texts me, "Are you dead in a ditch? Did he kill you? What happened?" And
It's some stranger from Facebook Marketplace,
So I was like, no, I'm okay. I texted her right away. And, so he stood there a little bit longer, laughed and said, "Hey, this guy's been breeding ball pythons." We just kind of hit it off. Really cool guy. So from then on, I messaged him all the time. And I was like, "Look, I'm sorry. I'm going to bug you with a lot of questions because you're obviously knowing what you're doing. You're a live person that I can literally message and get an answer for." And he was kind enough to, take it on and no problem. So he kind of showed us what to do and what not to do, right? So we avoided a lot of, I would say, beginner mistakes because of him.
And for a while, it got to the point where before we would buy something, we would hit him up and be like, "Hey, do you think this is a good addition? Do you think this is a good price?" Like, he was really, really helpful. And it was huge when we were starting out.
And he was brutally honest with us. Like, there's times I'd be like, "Oh, I like this." He'd be like, no, that's. I'm like, okay. And it was cool.
Friends like that.
Yeah, and I felt like, because the cool part too is it was never, no, don't buy that person's animal, buy my animal. So he's actually the person, and I did it in one of our videos where if you're going to start off, he was the one that told me, get 5 clown females, 5 pied females. If you have the money to get combos, great. If you don't, at least get the base genetics of that, raise them up. And that's a good foundation to start off of. And again, just kind of working through it. The cool part with him as well is that's how I met a lot of the other Long Island breeders. So you've got Baker from Blue Line Morphs, Sal from Gomez Pythons, Eric from Big E's Reptiles, and Joe from Empire State Exotics. I met all of those guys through Anthony. I ended up meeting all the other guys, ended up in a group chat together. And we've all been, I think, friends now for a little over 2 years. So it was nice. We were very new, had really no social media following, didn't know, what was up or what was down. But I now had a group of other guys that were doing the same thing, and we would all help each other out. So it was nice to have a group that we were all doing the same thing, and people were at different experience levels, and everyone was working similar projects, but different projects, and everyone was helping each other out. So again, I can see why new breeders get burned because, they have an experienced breeder that tells them to buy 17 males and they'll make it work. Yeah. But, we were able to avoid a lot of that because, again, we were guided by really great advice. And I think that's a big reason why we have not only stuck with it, but we've invested the kind of money that we have.
Yeah. I know I've got some new additions coming here to the facility in a couple of weeks, and they're from my buddy Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons. And he had sent me a list. He goes, "Hey, if there's anything on here you're interested in, let me know." So I went through the list because he had said that there was a few on there he thought would work really good with some of my projects. So he sent me the list. I went through. It's like, all right, I like this. It's like, I'm pretty like, oh, this is the stuff I'm thinking it's going to work that I can use and it'll help me push some things forward. And then I asked him, I was like, since you thought that you knew that you had some things that would work well for me, did I pick everything you were thinking? Or did I miss something? Like, am I kind of goofed up here on my thinking? And he goes, no, everything you picked was exactly what I thought you would have wanted and that would work good. So it's like, all right, awesome, let's do it.
Yeah.
No, it's always good. And truth be told, it's also, I'm sure like you've noticed in your group, like a bunch of us talk like every day in our group chat, and it becomes a dangerous thing because it seems like we're always getting something from one another. It's like it's almost adding too much temptation to the hobby. It's too much temptation sometimes.
Well, that's the problem, right? So those guys that I listed, everyone's collection has gotten better every year. Everyone is improving. So now you go to any of these guys' houses just as a, hey, we're gonna hang out or shoot the shit for the day, and all of a sudden you're in there, you're like shopping because they've produced stuff, they've purchased new animals. So now an animal that you're like, hey, that's really cool. They're like, yeah, it's actually up for sale now because I replace it. Either I produce the offspring that is going to take it over, it's better combo, or I purchase something different to expand on that project. So Yeah, it is. It is a lot of temptation, especially with, again, some of the other guys in the group have really dropped some serious money into this, and just seeing their animals, it's just insane. And again, these guys are all local to me. They're 20, 30 minutes away.
Oh, okay. So I'm pretty sure Empire State. I'm pretty sure I saw them at Gettysburg once.
Oh, maybe. I mean, not as he. I don't know. He might have been there, maybe
Empire
just walking
State.
around, but I'm not sure. I don't think he's vended yet. I don't think Joe's vended.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking of something. I thought it was Empire State at the Gettysburg show. Maybe I'm wrong. This would have been a little like last year. Maybe I'm thinking, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was in because there is a couple other breeders that have city things going on, like city themes. So I might
think of a couple. I think there's been a few that are similar, but yeah, like I said, it's a tight group that we've had. So again, it just it makes it tougher because these guys have dropped some serious cash into their collection.
Yeah.
Anthony of that smaller group, him and Sal have actually been doing it the longest. But Sal was also into boas and other things as well.
He had the Borneos. I remember when he got. Okay, he said that he did vend there a few years ago. Okay, so maybe I did. Maybe I'm not being too crazy here. Maybe I did see him at Gettysburg. Okay, he said he picked up imports from Outback. Yeah, I'm trying to get Ian to come on the show from Outback. For those of you that don't know, Ian from Outback is basically one of the biggest importers around, and a lot of the stuff that we work with today has come through Ian. Like Orange Dream, Ozzy got it from Ian. So I'm trying real hard to get Ian from Outback to come on, just because there's a lot of history and a lot of stories there to be told.
Yeah, Joe picked up a bunch of imports actually, so we're trying to see if any of them prove out, and see if any of us could become the new Ozzy, right?
Dude, I think that's something that I think we all hope happens, and best of luck to you on that one, because I think if you can find that one gene or that one thing that's actually a new gene that does something really cool, I can't imagine. I mean, that's just got to be the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, more power to him. I don't have the patience to try to run through all of it, but he seems to be enjoying it. So I'll wait till he says, "Hey, this is officially something new," and then we'll make a deal on it.
See, the proving it out, I think, is what would kill me. Because once you're like, all right, I think there's something going on here, then you got to run it through every freaking complex there is to determine and make sure that's not part of any of that stuff. And then you can, it just, yeah. You want me to text him nonstop? I've spent tens of thousands. Yes, Joe, yes. Every time I see, like, this is no lie. Every time I see him at a show, whether it's Hamburg, Gettysburg, just wherever I see Ian, I tell him, I always go up. I was like, dude, what's up? I talked to him for a little bit. I was like, don't forget. I was like, you got to come on the show. He goes, I know. I'm going to at some point. So, yeah, any pressure we can put on Ian to come on here, because I'm pretty sure that would probably be one of his first live streams he's ever done. So that would be one for the record books for me to have him on here for his very first debut on a live. So yeah, definitely, cool. If you don't mind bugging him a little bit, bug the hell out of him and tell him, dude, go on this guy's live stream, because I know I've got a couple other people I keep hitting, like they just drop the hints at him. So maybe one of these days he'll actually do it. MK says, I would be in so much trouble if I ever stopped by any of those guys' houses. No, I know. I've had Sal on here before, and Sal's an awesome dude. He's working some really killer stuff too. So it would luckily what like candy and all that stuff doesn't really do it for me. So I would be safe going to Sal's house.
Agreed.
But I don't know, like if
you said stuff, candy. It's not that I don't. I think it's okay. I'm not knocking anybody who works the project. It
Oh
just
yeah.
I suck at IDing, right? I am horrific with it. So you show me a lab albino, and then you show me an Enchi lab albino. I have no clue. To me, it's the same animal. I can't tell the difference. It's also the same issue with imports. Like, you know, people are, hey, what do you think with this animal? You think something's going on? I'm like, I don't know. It could just be two genes that have been out forever. I just can't see it half the time. I can tell the major stuff, but anything that, hey, this one little freckle or this one line, I am not the guy. I'm going to look at you and go, I have no clue.
I've had a few people come over to me and ask me about stuff. And it's like I upfront tell them, like, I'm the last person you should probably be coming to and ask me if you've got something going on in your collection. It's like I know I can pick out my stuff. It's like there's a whole 200 some odd other genes out there that if you put them in front of me, I probably can't ID a single one of them unless you tell me the pairing, and then I might be able to guess it. But I mean, it's the one guy was asking me about it. It's like, dude, it's like, man, I don't know. It's like it looks like there's something going on with this one, but maybe not that one. And then he goes, well, this crazy thing came from that one that you think there's nothing going on. It's like, well, then I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, I just don't know.
Yeah, it's a struggle. I take really good. I mean, I do most of my IDing. I have the best luck when I can look at the clutch mates, because then I can say, okay, this one has more going on compared to this one, because it's a direct comparison. They're right next to each other. I can physically look at it. That's usually when I can tell that something's going on. But if you hand it to me by itself, even if you took the most beautiful pictures in the world, even if it's in person, there's a good chance I am going to miss 2 of the 4 genes that are in there. So I don't even attempt to ID things. People ask, "Hey, Dave, what do you?" I have no. It's a ball python.
We had
That's it.
a hurricane clutch, and we post our pictures online and whatnot, and a bunch of people were reaching out to us and like, oh, I think there's something more going on than just hurricane or hurricane clown. And we were like, oh, I don't know, like that's the only one that we know of, so like I'm not gonna say that there's X, Y, and Z happening because we don't know. So then, but it kind of got us curious, and we started asking around, and it turns out there was spot nose in it too. So
oh, nice. Now that's a nice little bonus to have in there.
Yeah.
So great surprise. I would have never guessed. I just had it in my head for whatever reason. This hurricane is a lot brighter. It's a lot nicer than the ones that I normally see. And it's because it had spot nose, right? Which is a lightning gene. It enhanced it.
Yep.
So,
we're
but
like, the head stamp looks
clue.
a little different, but we wouldn't even think to, because as far as we knew, like the pairing didn't have spot nose in it at all. So
yeah,
turns out it did, but but yeah, we just didn't want to be like, oh, I think it has this and I think it has that, when we were just like, as far as we know, this is what it is,
I've got a Partho girl here that it's kind of the same thing as base, hands down, no matter what, it's super Enchi. Now, whether or not there's Partho, like the Partho having some influence on it, or there's a few people that think that she's cryptic as well, that the mom was, het cryptic or whatever, and this is a super Enchi cryptic. Because this thing, I mean, I've never seen a super Enchi look like this. Many people have not seen a super Enchi that looked like this thing. And it's, it's one of those things that now it's like, all right, now I've really got to prove it out, because apparently the Enchi that this girl came from does have, it could possibly be het cryptic just due to who it came from. They worked a lot of cryptic stuff. So it might be one of those hidden gems in a rough type of deal. But that's something you've got to prove that out now, too.
It could. Joe actually said that he texted Ian. He sent me the screenshot of it.
I was going to say, I saw him. He put it there in the chat. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it, dude. Hopefully we can get Ian on here, man.
Ian responded back, I'll work on some of those shows soon. So he's all over it.
Hey, if we can get him on here at some point, some progress is better than no progress. Here, Bomb, which one do you want to see? Do you want to see Edge's snake that we were talking about, or the Super Enchi? Which one do you want to see? Which?
Dave is working on getting something anyway, so.
Okay. Jim, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Hey, you are never late, dude. You always arrive exactly when you mean to, dude. There's a lot more things important in life than this live. I just appreciate every single one of you guys that are sitting here watching this. All right, you want to see? All right, let me go grab her quick.
I wanted to see the super engine.
That's fine. I want to show this one out too.
David, I'll put you up on the big screen first, dude.
Yeah, no worries.
Give me one.
So full disclaimer on this animal too, and we were actually talking about this before we got on live. So this is the male that's a spot-nosed hurricane clown male. He came out of the egg, ate a couple of meals, then would not eat. Then he assist fed for a couple meals, and I said, okay, that's fine. And then went on a hunger strike and got really, really skinny.
Hi, Valerie.
Okay.
So I had to learn how to force feed. And I'm not going to lie, I thought I killed him at least 4 times in the process of force feeding. So for anybody that's new to breeding, understand that force feeding will be needed and get comfortable with it quick, because sometimes it's the only way to save these things.
Life or death sometimes. And now we're left with this.
But with that being said, this is that male.
Oh, wow. Dude, all right. I'm a sucker when it comes to like head stamps and stuff and like head patterns. That thing's freaking wicked. I like that.
That's what I mean. We were like, yeah, it looks different, but we didn't know like what else was in it. So we didn't want to assume anything. We're just like, oh, it's different, you know?
Yeah, I just thought he was a really nice version of it. But obviously, I don't think he's not a nice version, but obviously that spot nose brought out the lightness to it. So
yeah,
we actually got the male from Joe, right?
No, this male was from Anthony.
Oh, sorry.
Half my collection is from Reptile Creations. There's a few other animals here from Joe. So a lot of our animals here are from local Long Island guys.
Oh, okay, awesome.
But
Palm says fire. Red Moon says, holy crap, he's stunning. Frank, what's up, dude? Jolly, thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah, you got lots of love on that one, guys. Lots and lots of love on that one.
That was definitely an exciting one to watch come out of the egg. Even though we didn't know like how like that there was more in it, it was still really cool. We were like, whoa, that is awesome.
So let's see that super enchi of yours. I'm curious.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully she was all balled up nice, and now she's getting very explorative.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
What is that head stamp? That is weird.
Yeah, see, now she's not gonna. I mean, like, it just.
That's very interesting looking. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, like, it's. After the people, a few people saying that there's something else in there with her, in with the super enchi, it really got me excited about it. Because originally, I just wanted this girl just because she was a Partho baby and she was like badass looking.
Did she give you any issues?
No, dude, she's an amazing freaking eater, dude. From day one, like she's putting on weight like freaking crazy too.
We haven't had a Partho clutch, but we've heard people say that Partho clutches tend to have issues. So I was curious, but she looks super healthy. She looks massive, actually.
She's almost, I think, close to 1,000 grams already. She's close. I think she's about like 9 something.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like just that head stamp, like, or I should say the head pattern. Yeah, see, there's my brother Chris. See, he's the main one that's been shouting at the cryptic. I mean, she's just.
Well, we gotta get Charlie to get on it and do the genetic testing.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. In all honesty, I didn't think about doing the testing on it.
Yeah. If they can get that out, that would be awesome to test. Because if she doesn't prove out, she doesn't prove out. But, if she does, man, that's killer.
Yeah. They're
So I
like,
wanted to actually give a quick shout out to Charlie from Gray Rider Reptiles. Excuse me. He's a guy that's actually a part of so Blue Line Morphs has a Patreon group, and actually a lot of the guys and girls in this chat right now are actually a part of it. And we actually met up with Charlie about a month ago, give or take. He actually bought one of our ARS 7030 racks from us. So he's about 3 hours from us. We met him in the middle, had some lunch. It was a really, nice time to meet him in person. But even before that, he made a few things for us, and he does the genetic testing. So he actually tested a few of our animals and showed us that a couple of them are actually not yellow belly, they're gravel, which is huge. And then he just recently genetic tested our stranger clown male, and we found out he's 100% head hypo. So Charlie does some really cool things with genetic testing. He's got a CNC machine. It's actually something he made us, which I thought was pretty cool. I wanted to show it off. So he actually made this for us, which I know is hard to tell. It's kind of see-through, but so
I like that.
Right.
Now, what is that out of metal?
Yep. So it's metal, and then he powder coated it black for us. And I think he made Baker one as well. And then I think he did like a cutting board or something for Paul for his. So, he's got some really cool stuff. He's got some CNC machines over there. I think he actually has like a little side business that he does. So people are looking for things like that. They should definitely check out his channel and, send him a message.
Nice. See, I like the CNC thing there. That was really freaking badass. I know my other sister Angie, not Angie at Celtic, but Angie at Jar Pythons. They do the cutting boards as well, which is who made mine. Chris actually got it done for me.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Oh, my buddy Chris says he's getting one made. All right. Nice, dude. Something just popped. That's my water bottle. Ken, yes, to answer your question that you asked up there, a little ways up there. Yes, that was the Partho girl that I got from Jeremy Bald. So she's growing nicely. You'll get to see her at the barbecue, dude. But anyway, so back onto track a little bit. Tell us some of the genes that you guys are working with, your big recessives that you're really excited about that you're working with.
So I would say this year. So first of all, we're not really doing anything to try to reinvent the wheel. Our goal is not to be Justin Kabilka. I'd like his paycheck, but I don't care to have a facility or a collection to that magnitude. Obviously, I respect him and Miguel and all those guys for what they do and having these large collections. It's just not in the cards for us. We both have our careers, so to take on that, I think would just be a lot to add onto our plate. So we're kind of following some of the trends this year. We had breeding. DG had clown males. DG had pied male. Stranger clown male, which is now also 100% head hypo. So we actually have some opportunities to hit stranger hypo clowns this year. We actually have 3 girls that are going that could give us an opportunity for that. So yeah, mostly clown, pied, pretty much anything that's going to be a codom with no recessive, we are selling at the end of this season.
Okay.
So we want to keep a small but powerful collection. Like I said before, we don't really want more than 100 adults that be males or sub-adults as well. So 100 sub-adult females and males. And if we end up making more, then we just have to replace, because I know myself, right? It'll end up becoming, I'll get another rack. I'll get another rack. And, just one more rack. And then next thing you know, we're producing
over the next room. It's okay. Yeah, 2 others.
It's not worth it. So, it kind of forces me, not so much Erica, but it forces me to say, hey, I have to really choose what I want to keep and what projects I want to work. Because it's so easy to just say, I want a little bit of everything.
Oh, it is. It is. And I'm good for it. I'm right there with you on how, there's a few snakes I probably shouldn't have bought, but they were for whatever reason, they just screamed at me. It's like, you know what? It's like this, and like there's a few of them that they just intrigued me. So I jumped on them, and even though I jumped on them, I mean, I'm still made sure that, hey, I could still work this into things. And so it's not like it was a complete idiot impulse buy. It's just a slight idiot impulse buy. But I mean, they'll still work into all the other projects that I've got going on. But no, I'm right there with you. Like, it's hard to have that self-control, because for me, like, I've got the carpets. So when I built my snake room, it was, shit. All right, Stephen and Courtney, what's up? Baker, Blue Line Morse. There he is. Your ears must have been burning, dude. Good to see you, Baker. Thanks for tuning in tonight, dude. We definitely got to get you on the live, because you had that one emergency that one night when you were supposed to be on. So we got to reschedule you, bro. I'll have to hit you up. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. But yeah, I've got the carpets. So my original 12 by 14 snake room that I built, I'm rapidly realizing that I don't have the room that I need to in here to run ball pythons and carpets. So now I'm already in the process of getting things worked up to add on to this room. I'm basically gonna have to knock down this wall like right here, or part of it anyway, and do the addition. And basically the snake room will be half my basement at that point. But man, it's like you said, I mean, if you could just start taking up room, adding racks, and before you know it, it's gonna be like, holy shit.
Well, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid, right? Because what I don't want is, so like I paired the Stranger Boy this year to a couple pied girls, just to make clown pie or a double het clown pieds that could potentially have Stranger, just because I think it's different. Again, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm sure they're out there. I don't believe it to be a world's first or anything, but I just think that it's, I just think it's something that'll be a little bit different. It'll be kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is that you do that too many times and you have 400 holdbacks. And, at the end of the day, like, look, I'll never say that someone is lying if they say they don't want to make money. I want to make money. Right. I'm not doing this just because I want to burn money. Right. I want to make money, but I enjoy the animals. I enjoy the process, but it's very easy to not be able to sustain your collection or to stay in the hobby too long, because if all you're doing is burning money and never recouping it back, life happens. Right.
Yep.
And that's often why we see a lot of new breeders leave, because they spent way more money than they could afford. They're not making that money back, and then they just say, hey, this is not for me, and they get out. And we need the new breeders, right? We need as many breeders as humanly possible, because that's how we all make money. Yes, we'll buy from each other, but you need the new breeder who's excited, thinks that they can do this, wants to add a collection of their own. Without them, we're selling to each other, and then what? It's just the top guys selling, and the rest of us are, shit out of luck, because who's going to buy a snake from me, even if it is the genetics they want, when they can go to a Miguel or a Justin and get a better price, because these guys are just offloading. So we need those new breeders. And that's kind of how we've also shaped our YouTube channel, is for the newer breeder. We do have things that help the more intermittent, and I guess even expert breeders, because there's a few little cool things that we learned how to do. But we really geared it towards a new breeder, because what we saw as new breeders was, I wanted to figure out, what the hell does het pied mean? I had no clue what it meant. I didn't know. You go to watch a video, it's a 27-minute video. There's a 30-second clip in it, but you have to watch the entire 27-minute video to figure out that 30 seconds of knowledge that you needed. So what we did was we try to break down smaller videos, 2-minute videos, explaining just one particular topic, because we felt that people could kind of use that more of a resource and say, okay, if they're figuring out a video that says, what is het pied? I'm not talking about, what does het mean as overall? Like, I want people to be able to go to that video and understand that they're going to watch 2 or 3 minutes based on that one topic. as opposed to trying to go through 40 minutes of me vlogging and talking about God knows what, and they actually don't get the information they were there to seek out. And again, we have to help the new breeders because that's where we make our money. That's all of us. I don't care if you're selling a $10,000 snake or a $50 normal. We all need the new breeders that are coming in, and you never know who's coming in. You know, I know some of you guys hit the ground running. I think when Joe came in from Empire State Exotics, his first year, he spent some absurd amount of money, like over 200 grand or something in his first year.
Oh, wow.
So you don't know who's coming in and who has money and who doesn't. So I think our first year we dropped maybe 35,000, which isn't groundbreaking money, but it's also not chump change.
Oh, no, you guys have dropped a lot more than what I've dropped. I don't even know. I'm on very limited income. So basically, as Billy would say, I've got to take the longer, harder road to get to where I want to be. Just because, I mean, my wife's stay-at-home mom, so we've only got my income. So basically, the snakes pay for the snakes now. Anything that I improve, collection-wise, the addition, more racks, it all comes from the snakes now. I try to not dump any more of our money in there just to help relieve a little bit of our, personal funding. That way, that's a little bit friendlier. So yeah, no, I would love to be able to drop, like, God, if I could drop some major cash, man, I think I'd go crazy.
And again, that's what it is, right? It's like, and listening to Ozzy in particular, because he always speaks about this, and so it's always, I think he said his average clutch now is like $30,000 or $50,000 a clutch is what he's averaging.
Yeah.
But the idea is he could produce 50 clutches and make more money than most of us would ever make in a regular job, right? So I like that philosophy of 20, 30 quality clutches every year at a higher price point. It just makes life a little bit easier. Look,
yeah,
no knock to anybody that's going after the paycheck snake. And of course, I'm more than happy to sell somebody, a small single gene animal for $100. If that's what's within their budget and that's what's going to work, that's fine. But I'm trying to figure out ways that are sustainable business and sustainable at a hobbyist level. And I think that going the higher end route, because you're going to miss, right? When you have double heads to double head, you're going to miss. And when you miss, it's just a basic codom animal, and you can sell that for cheaper or get it tested and figure out what it is. So I figured I can tackle both aspects of the market with the same animals. If we hit the higher stuff, like we hit the spot nose hurricane clown male, that's a, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000 snake. We can hit that mid-range to higher range depending on what you classify as a lot of money. However, the misses on that were a spot nose head clown male. That's well within someone who is looking for a paycheck snake. So our misses can still tackle that lower end of the market, that lower price point, and then our somewhat hits or our real big hits can then tackle that middle to high end, again, depending on how you classify it. So we're basically getting best of both worlds.
That there is exactly how I hope to have my stuff here in the near future. Because it's like Billy's basically said the same thing too. Erica, Valerie says hi.
Hi,
I don't know if you,
how are you?
She said that earlier, and I think I've either forgot
I said hi quick, but it was like while David took a breath, so probably too quiet.
Gray Rider also says his wife thinks he won all his snakes.
There you go, Charlie.
That's funny. But yeah, like Billy, I know Billy, that's one thing Billy always says, set yourself up to where if you miss, you're still making a hellaciously nice animal. So that way it's your misses are things that still people want to do and need to help improve their collections, which I think that's a very important step.
Yeah, no, agreed. And excuse me, I'm battling this damn cold or allergies. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I mean, we had bells, right? And it was amazing. And during COVID time, I was selling bell. I couldn't produce enough. And then the kind of sort of ball python recession hit, right? Where people weren't buying as much. But I don't believe it was also the recession. I believe that a bell, for the most part, is a pet animal. And a lot of people got their fix on it. People were buying bells, and now they're like a year later, hey, I don't want this snake anymore. So while they were a buyer 1 year ago, now they're getting out of it. So I said, and I was told this advice, right? It's a $100 snake is going to cost you the same amount of money to care for as a $10,000 snake. Yep. So that really made me look at it and say, in this one rack, if you have a rack holding, let's say 10 animals, you can either have a potential output of $1,000 in clutches, or you could have a potential output of $100,000, depending on the level or the quality of animal that you put in that rack. And it got to the point for us where I really started thinking, let's go for that higher end, because we're going to miss. Missing the odds is not a failure. It's a part of the process. You take the few wins, you either sell it or you raise that animal up, but you're going to miss 70% of the time when you're going for these crazy combos. And if my misses can be still someone else's goal, then I'm probably going to be in a good spot.
No, I totally agree with you. Like, my big thing for this year is going for Exantic clowns. I've got one shot at it. It should be a 4-egg clutch. She's in prelay shed right now, but it should be 4-egg clutch. So I think my odds are like 1 in 62 on double het to double het, something like that. The odds aren't in my favor. But I'm just fingers crossed that I can nail that thing. And even if I hit a visual of one end or the other, it's getting tested for whatever it's not, visual for. But any of those misses, I mean, like you said, they're going to be worthwhile. If I don't need them, it's worthwhile to sell them off, because they're going to help somebody else off and worth a little bit more than just your average pet.
Yeah, agreed. Hold on. I actually want to show another animal. So this was, I think we had I want to say it was like a 1 in 16 chance. I don't remember the odds of hitting, but I want to show it real quick. And I'm very happy we hit it.
Oh, I'm anxious to see this. Creative. I work with the only right Exantic out there, bro. Come on now. You know this. We got to stop this hate on TSK. Sorry if it makes everything else look bad. I'm sorry. I just don't hate it. Just don't hate it. Just accept it. Everybody needs to convert. TSK, everybody. Exantic everything.
So I had a yellow belly clown female. Joe from Empire State Exotics had this OD gravel het clown male that he had gotten from Ozzy. Produced an OD gravel clown visual of it and said, hey, I'm going to get rid of this thing. Gave me a really good price. We went to go pick it up, paired them together, and we actually hit an OD highway clown female.
Oh, wow.
The camera's not doing it justice. Even.
I was going to say, I don't
know if that makes
No, it's going to saturate it out.
There we go. Now you can see the colors better.
Yeah, we had a light behind us, so I just took it off real quick.
It's still not great on camera, but
that's the only sad thing with showing snakes off on camera, is that cameras never do them any justice.
No. But my point of showing this is that the chances were so low, right? It's an OD gravel het clown to a yellow belly clown. So the chances of even hitting a highway clown were pretty low. And we ended up hitting the orange dream version of her.
Okay.
So, it's just something where we took the chance. Even if we missed, we're going to produce either yellow belly or gravel het clown. Gravel het clowns are still kind of sought after. And then any clown version of it, it's yellow belly or gravel. It's not bad. And then we sent the sheds over to Charlie for for 2 that I didn't know if they were yellow belly or gravel. One was a male, one was female, and we got a 1.1 out of it. And the male is actually OD as well.
Nice.
So
See,
taking
I need that kind of luck.
putting them together, it's worth it, right? You never know what you're gonna hit.
It's and I mean, you can even, I think, like, some people just have crazy ass good luck. Like, you could do a double head to double head, and you could hit several freaking visuals. It's all on how your luck works. And as we always joke around it in our little group chat, but also it depends on who you've sacrificed to the odds gods. Last time, poor Kent was getting sacrificed to the odds gods by Danny.
Yeah,
but no, that's a beautiful animal, dude.
There's just so much luck involved, right? And
it is.
But the way you increase your chances is by, first of all, doing the pairing, adding your chances by getting those visuals where you can, as opposed to just doing head to head. And again, I know everyone's financial standpoint is different. So if all you can afford is head to head, still go for it. But the idea is, that's why we went smaller collection, because again, instead of buying 3, $500 animals, we decided, hey, we'll buy one $1,500 animal.
No,
the thing I keep telling people is load up on your females. Even if you're like, I don't really know what I could do with her. You'll never have too many clown females. You'll never have too many pied females. If you're into exanthic, ultramale, like, you'll never have too much of that particular recessive.
No, I totally agree. Charlie says he Kent's off limits, at least until he pays for his girl he's getting. All right, Charlie, we'll hold off on sacrificing Kent for a little bit. Just let us know when he's clear and free game. No, like, the neat thing is, like, the girl that I had the chance of hitting the exanthic clown with this year, it was actually a male and female that I produced in-house. So it's a special clutch for me because it'll be my first chance to make a double visual. And this is only our 3rd season of breeding. So that in itself is awesome. But at the same token, the fact that they were produced here and using my own produced animals is just, it's a great feeling. Super, super excited.
We have another one from the same clutch
sister over.
Who she's not as like cool. She doesn't have the orange dream in it, right?
She's just
so he's much better with the genetics than I am. So, but one of the things I find really cool about her, it's like barely there, but she's got the smallest little paradox, and I just think it's so cute. So this is her.
Oh, that is pretty.
And then she's got a teeny tiny little paradox spot. And I don't know. I just thought it was really cute. And like, as she got bigger, it just showed up one day. And yeah, I love this girl. She's so sweet too.
That combo is just beautiful. And that's with your gravel, right?
Yeah, so that's a highway het clown.
Okay.
And she's female.
See, highways, freeways. I work with asphalt stuff, so like I'm a highway or freeway guy, but the highways, man, they look nice too. Like they're just, even as babies, nothing catches your eye more than something like that. Cardos Exotic says, show the hypo clown, stop playing. Red Moon, thanks for joining us tonight, dude. Greatly appreciate it. I hope to see you in the chat again. They said that they have to scoot, got an early morning ahead, and they hope everyone has a great night.
Thank you.
We got 33 in the chat. Everybody, please make sure you guys go and check out the sponsors of this week's episode. We've got Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons and Chris for B&S Reptilia. Go check them out. Links are in the description. And also, if you're not using Husbandry Pro, click the link in the description down below. It's our affiliate link. Free 30-day trial of the best reptile record-keeping and tracking software on the market. Give it a shot. I'd be surprised if you didn't like it, but I'd definitely give it a shot.
So Cardos Exotics favorite, I think one of his favorite animals we have here is a pastel clown hypo. So she's our only double visual that we
Okay.
have, but and she is actually breeding for us.
All right. Now, obviously, you said that's got pastel in it. Now, what's your? It seems like there's so much hate on pastel. Where do you guys stand on it as far as in general and in like the clown combos?
Um, I mean, we're kind of indifferent. We have a lot of pastel in our collection, actually. I personally like what it does. I like the lighter snakes. I think it's cool. I like it.
I like it, but we have way too much of it. The reality of it is, as we were purchasing animals and growing the collection quickly, and again loading up on our females, pastel clowns females were just cheaper, right? They weren't as highly sought after. So I looked at it as, well, screw it, I'll get pastel clowns, I'll breed it out, and we'll just build off of that. Because when a regular clown female was, let's say, 400, 450, sometimes $500 when we were buying, because we were buying at the height of the market, you could get a pastel clown for 350.
Yeah.
That was bigger, better eater, bigger. It was just, oh, pastel and clown. Nobody wants that crap. Well, I said, me, I'll take it. I'll take that crap.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take it. Yeah.
So I was buying, 2, 3 pastel clowns in a package deal for $900. And again, you couldn't get regular clowns for less than $450. So we have a lot of it. I enjoy it. I think all it takes is Justin, right, to come out and say pastel clowns are needed because insert his 27 gene combo here. And then all of a sudden, pastel clowns, everyone's going to go, oh, yeah, I love pastel clown. I always loved it. And prices shoot through the roof. So I do have too much of it in my collection, but I'm not against it. But I get why people don't want it, right? It's just, it's literally one of the first genes. So it's in everything. But
it is in a lot. But man, if you got a good pastel line, I've got a crazy pastel line here, and like I it makes me wonder why anybody like could hate on it. Like she's just freaking bright as hell. It's actually the girl that's the double head exantic clown girl. But man, like and it comes from my bumblebee clown is where the crazy pastel line's coming from. And every baby that he's produced, you can lay it next to, like, I've got two there's same mom, just different dads. It's a pewter leopard het clown compared to a pewter leopard het DG. Now, you would think the het DG would look better, right?
Right. In theory, it's supposed to.
In theory, it should. That het clown beats the snot out of that het DG hands down. Like, wow. It's just, and the only thing I can come up with is it's the pastel line.
Right.
It's just got some really craziness to it. So I think if you got the right pastel line, man, run that into everything.
Yeah. So our stranger boy is actually a super pastel lesser stranger clown, 100% het hypo pas het more or monsoon. Because it, pretty much, I think every stranger is pas het more / monsoon, because Roland figured out that his original one, which basically sired almost all of the strangers that are out there now, was 100% het monsoon / more.
Baker.
Yeah. Baker, just for that, he's not going to eat for like 2 weeks now.
KG, you are right. Quality always shines, man. You were so right on that one. But now, all right. Now, since you brought up the moray and the monsoon, here's what's your thought on the moray and the monsoon? Because I'm kind of like, at first I really liked it. It's something I wanted to really dive into. But after seeing combo after combo after combo of it come out, and it not looking any different, I'm kind of started to like back off a little bit from wanting to get into it. So what's your thoughts on that one?
Exactly what Baker actually wrote in the chat. It's a super pinstripe. Right? That's exactly what it is. It's a very, very, very expensive pinstripe. I love Pinstripe. I love what Monsoon does. My complaint to it, though, is exactly what you were discussing. It's the same complaint that I have with Sunset. It's the same complaint I have with Banana. The moment you add that, and I know Banana is not a recessive, but the moment you add Banana or you add Sunset into something, it's just so overpowering.
Yep.
It just takes over completely. So while, yes, you can stack codoms and potentially other items, I don't think anyone's found the right combination of items yet to really unlock it into looking something different.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if there is a combo for it. But again, I love pinstripes, but to spend $20,000 on a super pinstripe is just difficult to justify that purchase. I'd rather purchase jeans and snakes that I have a larger palette that I can use to make really cool animals, instead of just buying an animal and knowing that, hey, it's just gonna always look that dominant.
Yeah.
So I like it personally. I just think that for me, the price point's a little high with the fact that it's very limited.
Yeah, see, for me, like, my whole collection is based around Exantic stuff, basically. That's my whole thing here. My motto is Exantic everything. But, I would love to see an Exantic Monsoon. But, I mean, as far, like, I think really all you can do is just change the color of it. Now, Frank here says about go look at the Monsoon Clown. But here's my question, though. I mean, obviously the Clown and the Monsoon are going to do some crazy things. I will have to go check it out for sure. But is every Monsoon Clown going to look the same?
Right.
It's just like,
yeah, I mean, I have clown girls right now that people are like, you sure there's nothing else? I said, no, she's just, this one was a really dark, I have a really, really dark version of clown that I could easily persuade someone there's, leopard in it or mahogany, right? Because it's so dark. And I have clown girls that I could convince you there's orange dream in it because it's so bright. I know both of those girls are 100% just clown, not het for anything else. Nothing else is influencing them. They just are different colors, but they're the same base, so the other thing, though, is like, look, I'm hearing all this double recessives. Okay, but realistically, how long does it take for you to hit a double recessive?
Yeah.
You got to work the project for what, 6 years? And that's you hitting the odds. That's you.
You've got to hit the odds first.
Right? That's you getting the animals to actually want to lock up together, which I know it's not always awful, but man, sometimes I put a male in there and it's like junior high school prom all over again. He's on one end of the tub, she's on the other. They want nothing to do with each other.
Yep.
So that's that's kind of where it gets tough. I just saw a comment here about paint.
Baker's screaming paint.
Yeah. Well, Baker's screaming paint because he also just purchased like 10 paint.
I was watching your video here, Baker, on your paint stuff that you got going on.
So I like paint, and I think in our particular little Long Island group, I think Sal was the first one with paint. He purchased it, I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago from Rec Room Snakes.
Okay.
I know that they're working paint a lot. And I like paint. I actually did a pairing where I made double hat paint clowns. I think it's going to be fun. And we did the clutch again this year just so I could retain more females. So that'll be a future project. It'll take me, 2 or 3 years before we're there. But yeah, I like paint. I think it's awesome. I think paint is very underrated. And naturally, Justin produces a video and all of a sudden, paint prices go through the roof. You could have bought paint last year, or not last year, but 2 years ago. You could have bought paint visuals for $600.
Okay.
Now you can't even get them, and if you do, it's like the price of DG now. It's like $1,000 for a. See,
that was it blows my mind sometimes on how one person can control the market. Justin obviously doesn't try it. I mean, I don't think he tries to control the market, but what he says carries a shit ton of weight. I mean, it just you know, if he said like when DG, for instance, I picked up my DG male before Justin said about how great DG was. I picked him up, and I forget, I picked him up maybe like, I don't know, 150, $200, something like that. Visual DG. And after Justin, like a month or so later, Justin dropped the video saying about, DG and how awesome it is. And right when then DG prices, like you said with the paint, just went through the freaking roof. And it's like, holy crap. And like several different times he says stuff and the market just goes crazy.
He could say normals. You need to have normals in your collection and normals will go up, right? He has that much influence on the market. And I mean, this is a little bit of a segue, which I don't care. I'm very happy for him, but Miguel did it right. He dropped a lot of money when he came on, and he dropped it with the right person. He dropped it with the influencer of our market. There's no other way to spin it. Justin controls the ball python market, right?
Yeah.
That's no knock to Billy or to Ozzy or any of those guys. But when Justin says this is what you can produce, and it's the way he markets his videos. He doesn't just come on, say, hey, you need to have, whatever, you need to have this gene, and then walks away. He shows you why. And he gets that interest up because you're looking at an animal and you go, that doesn't even look real. It looks like you painted it on it, Like when he released a Kraken, none of us thought that you could make that combination do that.
Yep.
And
that thing's freaking stunning looking.
Right. And he's also smart. By the time he releases this stuff, he's already got adults paired up. He's already got the next. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got the Kraken 5.0 already in his collection that he just hasn't shown off yet. But he's smart. He has all of these people, us included, following what he's doing, but he's already 5-6 steps ahead of us.
Yep.
So while we're all here trying to figure out, I mean, we don't have Batman in our collection. Batman was produced how many years ago? And people are still excited and trying to produce Batmans because we're still trying to almost follow this high of what it was a few years ago.
So I just bought a Batman this year, and I appreciate what Justin does for the market, but I'm also one of those people like I don't want to be trying to chase his coattails because you're never gonna catch Justin. Like you said, he's like years ahead of everybody. Whatever he's showing you now, he's already got something better growing up in the rack. Probably you're just not seeing it,
right?
But like I like to use how he works stuff as an inspiration and go my own path. So while everybody else is following him, maybe I'll hit something over here doing my own thing that when people see it, it's going to catch their attention. They're like, well, he doesn't have that over there, so we're going to come over here and get this from this guy. So, and that's, maybe it's a wrong way to go about it. I mean, maybe it's, I know my buddy Danny always says, there's a recipe, the recipe's already made. Just follow the freaking recipe and you'll do fine. But at the same token, I don't, like if everybody's making what Justin's making or trying to chase that, you're fighting all over the same gene pool and over the same customers. If you're making a little bit of some different stuff, you're broadening your horizons. You're hitting some different buyers and different needs.
Yeah, and so what we've also done with our collection, besides the other items that I listed, is okay. I don't really care to make a world's first, but what I'm doing is okay. So you're trying to chase this new animal that Justin produced. It's 6 genes in it with this recessive in it. Okay. What I'm doing is I've got animals that have half of it. So I've got the ingredients. There's a good chance you're going to buy from me because I'm the next step. You buy those 2 animals, you wait a couple years, you put them together, you could potentially hit it. That's kind of the landing point that we're trying to reach is we want people to be able to really take those key ingredients and either follow in his footsteps or make a tweak. But I'm producing a high enough quality animal that it's a good price point, but it's not too much. And it's just trying to find that fine line, because again, if you produce 100, $10,000 snakes, what are the chances that people have $10,000 for it? So you make a couple that you could afford, you either trade them, you do some payment plans, and then you have some of the lower stuff. It's all a combo. I don't think there's any way to approach it with just one tactic and then you're going to say that's going to work. Yeah, you have to be able and willing to maneuver your stance, maneuver your game plan in order to reach the market and maximize your reach.
Totally agree.
Because I look at this from a corporate standpoint. I have a corporate job, so I know numbers, I know business, and I'm trying to just take that and put it into here, which is, okay, how does business work? You have to create a demand, you have to market, you have to understand what people are wanting to buy. And then you put your own little spin on it because then people like you. Because that's ultimately what it is. How many of us are selling a pastel clown, right? So many people are producing it, but why are people potentially buying from us or buying from you, or, you know, and not buying from Joe Schmo that they've never seen before? It's because they're now supporting that local business or that particular business. And so it's a combination of everything. And I think that Justin does that well. I saw Leviathan was in here. I don't know if they're still in here, but their videos, they have marketing backgrounds. So I watch them and I'm like, man, this is, again, I have a business background, but I don't do marketing specifically. So I'm watching their videos and learning as much as possible because they have that narrowed down. And I think that it's really cool, like, just to learn, and us all doing these videos and podcasts, you're learning what everyone does in their day job, bringing it into this hobby, which has never been here. The old school guys never communicated with each other. And I'm talking about, 20 years ago, these guys were ready to kill each other for $100.
Oh, they would tell you the wrong stuff just so that way you didn't have any success, from how it sounds.
Right. So I think that overall the community and the way the business has shifted has gone completely different, but in a positive way. I think that, people actually wanting to help each other out, communicate their failures so that the next person doesn't replicate it. I believe that that's why, of course, the power of the internet, but I believe that overall people being good to each other, I think, is why we've seen such a huge boost in the community.
I agree with you 100% on that. Baker, I think Baker hit the nail right there on the head with it as well. Here's the thing: breed what you like. If it happens to be the same as Justin, cool. If something he made was $15K and you made it 5 years later because you love it and it's only $2,500, it's still $2,500. You're exactly right, dude. My method, my thought process is, if I don't sell what I've made, I'm stuck with it. I'm not, like, if I don't enjoy opening that tub up and seeing what I've created, whether it sells or not, I'm doing something wrong. Even, all right, for instance, I made pastel double het Exantic DGs this year so far. It's my first clutch of the season. Even the normals out of that clutch, I open that up, I open them up to feed them and clean them and all that stuff. And they, like, I just think they're so freaking neat and beautiful looking. A freaking normal. I mean, but it's just all the differences in them. Like, you got to work with what you love, people, because if you don't work with what you love, you're going to burn yourself out just chasing after that money. I mean, the money aspect, great, don't get me wrong, but you got to love what you're working with, because ultimately, I mean, it affects your salesmanship as well. I've always said, like, Ultramel isn't my thing. I know everybody's probably going to hate on me now for, not being on not liking Ultramel, but like Ultramel and Monarch, like, I'm partially colorblind, so I know I probably don't see what everybody else is seeing. But at the same token, like, so that being said, I'm not the best Ultramel salesman. Now, I would maybe tell you I'd be a lot better salesman at selling the Exantic stuff, because that's what catches my eye. I mean, everybody jokes I see the world in black and white anyway, which I don't. I see color, people. But, I mean, like, if I can't see the color in it, I'm obviously not going to enjoy it as much. So that's one, like, Ultramel's fetching some nice money, but it doesn't excite me, so I don't work with it. Antoine, what's up? High Desert Pythons. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Greatly appreciate it. Jana, ASM, what's up?
Yeah, and just adding on, and obviously just reading through the comments as well. It's true. You have to be your number one customer, right? You have to produce what you can use and what you like first and foremost. If you happen to make stuff, there's a really good chance that if you like it, a lot of other people in the community are going to like it as well. And that's where you get to sell it. Maybe not everyone's going to like it, but that's okay. But if you can produce stuff and let's say 50% of the market likes it, that's where your sales come from. You're going to find those people that have kind of the same vision as you, have the same taste as you do, and that's where your sales come from. And if you don't sell it, like you said, you don't open that tub and look at this thing and go, you piece of shit, why are you still here? You look at it and go, well, screw it. No one's purchased you yet, but that's okay. You know what? You're sitting at 500-600 grams. You probably got another year. You know what? Let me just pencil you into the breeding cycle and into the breeding program, and we'll get you the right, male to go to you, or the right female. And then you start to pivot kind of your plans. But you can see a lot of people got weeded out. When we started, I mean, we were COVID breeders too, right? That's when we really started. But I can't tell you how many names of people we were following that were like, man, they're really fun, they're entertaining. Gone. Just, they either deleted their page or they haven't had a post and haven't responded to messages in over 2 years. And a lot of those people came in for the wrong reason. They saw that ball pythons were, some people thought you were going to buy two $200 animals and make $800 animals, and it just doesn't work that way. And again, I think a lot of people didn't have a business sense, but put all their eggs in one basket, right? People quit their jobs. People cashed out their 401ks. People made some very sketchy financial decisions that they couldn't recover from, or couldn't wait out the 3 to 5 year process. We're 3 years in, and we might be able to make our money back this year just because we're very fortunate. But usually it's at least in any business, is 3 to 5 years before you make your money back.
That, and plus on top of it, I mean, like for me, I'm still in that whole building stage. Like, I mean, everybody that's, I've got I do ARS, the hybrid stuff. So I buy tiers, and like my order's a complete mess for ARS. I know. I'm surprised they even still ship me stuff. but like, I'm adding tiers of this and that, building things up as I need to. And like, it's just so that way I don't burn myself out. So that way I don't become part of that, aspect of got into it and then boom, you're gone because you've overextended yourself. You didn't think it through. A lot of, like, it's also part of my slow growth too. It's just, I want everything here to pay for itself in that aspect.
Yeah. And I think also for me, in our case in particular, I'm very lucky because if we ever shipped you guys a snake, Erica sent it.
Okay.
If ours, going through our snakes, the cleaning, she cleans it, not me. I don't clean snakes. And it's not because I think I'm better than it, but
help me every so often.
Now I'm starting to more with this gig that I have. But prior to it, I was never home. I would leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd get home at 10, 11, midnight, 5 days a week. So that daily routine it had to happen, and I just wasn't home to do it. So Erica would take care of it. Now with my new job, it is easier. A lot of days, actually, I work from home. I work from home like 2 or 3 days a week. So sometimes I'm on conference calls. I'll have my headset on, and I'll go and start cleaning tubs. So
that would be nice.
And I'm just laughing and, having a conversation with them. And I'm like over here just cleaning snakes out. And I'm like, she'll get home and I'm like, hey, I did one rack already. I got started on the other. And she's like, weren't you working? I was like, yeah, I was on conference calls all day. It's okay. Like, they don't need to see me. They just need to hear me. So
that's true.
But I have that effort. I have a second set of hands and somebody who enjoys doing it. Like, it's not a fight between us. It's not hey, it's your turn to clean. It's just, we get it done.
Right when we started doing this too, I was like, I'll tell you one thing, I'm not going to be the one feeding. Every so often I will. Like, if he's, like, every so often he has to go away for work. So if he's away, I'll, like, and they have to be fed, I'll feed them. I'm not gonna, let them go hungry. But the one thing I won't do is live. I get it. It's a circle of life, but my hand is not gonna be the one putting that rat in there. So
see, I don't like. All right, I hate doing live just because it's a farther drive for me to go to my rack guy where I get my frozen thawed from, than going 10 minutes up the road to get to the pet store. So it's like a time inconvenience thing, but I'm spending more money on it. So that's the part that really chaps my ass. Now, for those that have been to my place, everybody probably says, "Well, Jeremy, you've got that nice shed out back. You could just turn that into a rat shed." Which maybe down the line when my workload kind of cools off a little bit, I'm looking at more doing this full time, just the YouTube and the snakes. Rats might be in my future then, but I don't have the time to do my 9 to 5, which is more like a 5 to 5. Do the family, do the husband and dad thing, do the snakes, there's just not enough time. It keeps me stepping as it is. Most times I don't even get to bed till 12 o'clock, and I'm back up ready to go at 5 o'clock. Yeah. I was watching Baker's one video. He went like 2 freaking days, like no sleep, and he was still going strong. I don't know how the man did it. But, he was still as energetic as he always is. It's like, good God.
We have a few that are stuck on live, so it's only like a handful of them. But for the most part, we do frozen thawed because it's easier. It's, we don't really want to keep live rats in our place, so we don't have somewhere right now that it can be a separate building, or even we just don't have that ability right now. Maybe in the future, if we have a shed and we do like a rat, whatever the future brings. But as of right now, it's it's just I can't feed live.
No.
And we are married, but we don't have kids yet. We both have full-time jobs, but we do that, and then we come home, and this is something that we have together too. So that's kind of part of the reason I got on board with it also, because I'm like, he's gonna do it either way. So if I get on board, at least it's something that we have together,
Well, see, the nice thing is, my daughter's 3. We just had a newborn. He's 6 weeks old. Actually, 7 weeks old now, maybe. 7
Congrats.
weeks. Thank you. My daughter, she'll be turning 3 here next month. She loves to come down here and help with the snakes. I let her do some things, but you got to watch her because she doesn't understand that just reaching in isn't always the smartest thing. She hasn't been bit yet. She had one strike at her, and ever since it struck at her, she will not. If I open that toe up, she goes to the other end of the room. She remembers that snake striking at her. So that's funny, but she kind of slows everything down here a little bit. So I try to bring her down when I'm not in a rush. If I've got that time to spare, that's when I kind of bring her down. We'll go through every rack because she's got to see every snake, and she talks to them and pets them, and it's a whole process. But and then my son, he just turned 16 and got his permit. So everybody, if you're in the Lancaster County area, just stay the hell off the roads. But he's got one snake here that we breed. But other than that, he helps me do some filming, but he just doesn't really seem to be too into it. So I think my daughter will be the one that maybe picks it up. Who knows? Maybe the little man, once he starts getting bigger, he'll start picking it up. But we'll see. Baker, you're with your little cocaine thing, man. And sometimes the best way I would pick to describe you, Baker, would be you're like a cheetah on cocaine. Man, sometimes I get tired watching your videos, bro. Just, you've got so much energy. We've got to bottle it up or something, dude. Share a little bit with everybody.
Yeah, that's all fueled by anger and rage. So, but no, the cool part is, again, as I'm meeting these guys, right? Because I had watched Gomez, I had watched Baker, I watched Empire State Exotics. And then I got an opportunity to meet them because, again, they're all local guys. The coolest part is all of them are exactly the way they are. On the video, in person, there's no real difference. It's the same thing. It's the same person. So if you like what you see on the video, you're going to like them in person, because that's truly who they are. They're not putting on a show. So Baker being wild and crazy, that's how he is in person. It's the same thing. Joe being, super chill and relaxed, and that's who he is. And Sal being a kind-hearted person, that is genuinely who he is through and through. So it's cool, again, that we were able to meet really good people who just so happen to be in the same hobby as us. But overall, they're just really good people.
Yeah. No, I think that's really neat though too, because like I was telling you, like we've got a really awesome group of Pennsylvania breeders. It's neat to see like there's all these little groups that are all tight knit. It's just it's awesome to see and hear. It just gives you hope that everything is that there's only a few bad eggs out there that you can't really control that, but that the majority of everybody is just awesome.
And I mean, more recently, the reason we were in Gettysburg, we were there with our friends from Sally Valley Snakes. It's another couple that also breed, and we met them when they bought a rack from us, and then we were at a local show out in Long Island, and we ran into them, and they were like, "Hey, we know you," and we just kind of hit it off, and we've been hanging out with them, and we went to Gettysburg with them. We were helping them vend and whatnot, and then and we met you there, and here we are.
That's awesome. I do want to talk about this. You guys have a very special snake, and like the reason I brought it up like this because I've been trying to keep these things down to about 2 hours. We'll probably go a little bit over anyway if you guys are all right with it. But I wanted to make sure that we got to talk about this special snake that you guys have. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about it or about her.
I'll leave this one to you. But before she gets into that story, I did bring one other one over. For anybody who likes Oedipides, this is a super Oedipide that we produced.
Oh.
So we actually produced 3 of them, 3 females. So lucky us. We ended up keeping back 2, and it sucks. You can't really see how orange she is, but and actually he's in here. Paul from Large Marge Morphs actually purchased one. So he has one of our females, and we kept back we held back the other 2. So this one's probably the more curious one as she's going to the camera. But it was nice. We actually produced some super Oedipides last year.
She's beautiful. Paul is actually our guest for next week's live. So everybody make sure you come out and check that live out.
Yeah, I'm going to do
that. So we have a chocolate clown. I named her Stevie. Reason being she is blind. So it's kind of like Stevie Wonder. But we're also a fan of the show Schitt's Creek. So I was like, oh, it could be a girl's name too. So I named her Stevie, and she is blind. She hatched out with no eyes. We didn't produce her, but she was given to us because the person who produced her is like, I don't have the patience. Like it's, it takes a lot of patience to get a snake like this to thrive because, when they're blind, sometimes they don't eat. They have other sensors, like they have like the heat pits and stuff, obviously, but they don't grasp the concept of what is that, like what's in front of me, I need to eat it, So basically you have to assist feed them for a while. And she was touch and go for a long time. We've had her over a year now. And she's so curious, so she's not going to really stop moving. But she had her a little over a year now, so she's still small for how old she is. But like I said, she was touch and go for a while. I was assist feeding her. She was doing well. Then she had like all of these. So this is her, by the way. This is Stevie. So as you see, no eyes. But she's beautiful, and she
is beautiful.
She is. And she's super curious. She's always, whenever we do have her out, she's always like, tongue flicking everywhere. She's in, like, as you see, like in and out of my hand. She's awesome. But there was one day, she also has like a little cleft lip, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's not bad. It
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
affect her eating. But she had one shed that I don't know if she was having a hard time getting it off her neck or whatnot. But she actually ended up like, I guess, rubbing on the top of her enclosure and kind of created a sore like on her neck. So she still has a scar here, like right on the back of her neck here.
Now, you made a video about this as well. I know this is how I found out about this snake, folks, was through one of their videos.
Yeah.
Very touching. I really enjoyed it, but yeah.
So when she did that, I stopped feeding her for a little bit to let that heal up. I was just treating it and letting it heal up. And then
Now, what did you use to treat it with? For anybody, in case anybody gets as a snake injured.
Yeah, absolutely. I used betadine. I just kind of put it on a paper towel, wet the paper towel, like water, like diluted it basically to just clean it out. And then just basically patted it like on her, like on the sore. And then the Neosporin, just the plain old Neosporin. It didn't, the one with the pain reliever is actually toxic to them. So just the plain ointment, plain old Neosporin, the like clear one. And so I was doing that. Then I thought it was healed up enough. So I was like, oh, let me feed her. It's been a little while. When I fed her, I used to have to hold her head and like, assist feed, hold it to her mouth. But I couldn't put her right back in her enclosure. I had to hold her until she finished it. Otherwise she would spit it out. She was very needy. Like she needed to be in my hands, like on my lap. Like I had to hold her until she was done. So I was doing that, and I actually, I'm watching it go down, and the sore, or where the sore was, that piece split open. So now she had like a deeper wound, and it was like heartbreaking. I like called him in, and I was like, David, come here. He comes running in. He goes, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. Her skin just split open. So it was in the same spot, and it just split. There was a little bit of blood, but it wasn't, I think it was more like the skin just wasn't fully healed yet, and it might have still been kind of scabby. So it dried out, and that piece just split. So it wasn't good. I mean, she had it was a pretty big like gash almost. And I just kept treating it the same way. I put the ointment on it like 3 times a day, first thing in the morning, first thing when I got home from work, and right before I went to bed. And then that healed up. She shed out, the scab came off, and she's left with a scar, but she started eating again, no problems. It didn't rip open again. I was terrified the first time I fed her after that.
Oh, I bet.
And then it was back to how I was feeding her. And then recently, every time I feed her, I always present it in her enclosure first, just to see. It's like, path of least resistance, I guess. Yeah. So I always present it first, and then, if she doesn't take it, I'll just, continue on, and usually end up feeding her by hand. But a couple weeks ago, she actually struck it for the first time right off the tongs.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I cried, not gonna lie. I got very emotional because it's been a long road with her. Like there were some days that I would wake up in the morning and check on her, and I thought she would be dead. But every morning she popped her head back, like she popped her head up when I opened her tub, and she was still there. So this is actually really good shape compared to what she did look like even a couple months ago. So she's been doing really good, and this is like my girl. She's been my project since we've had her, and she's great. I mean, as you can see, she's so chill. Like she's moving around a lot, but it's more like curiosity. She's not like.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of like you would think not being able to see, she would kind of be like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of sit here and not do much.
Yeah.
But it surprises me that she's as explorative as what she is.
Yeah, she really is. And she's just so chill. I just love her. But yeah, she's doing really well, and it's been a journey, but she's still here. As long as she's fighting, I'm fighting. I'm sorry.
How old is she?
She's about a year old now.
Okay.
I think a little over.
Or a little over a
yeah,
year.
maybe a year and a half.
Nice. Now, is she something that you guys will ever think of breeding? Or is she just basically going to pet only, never going to take that step with her?
I don't know. I mean, we think so. The person we got it from is an incubator issue. They don't think it was genetic at all. So maybe if she ends up continuing the way she's going and she gets up to size, maybe we'll try it at least once. And if we have an issue, we'll stop. And if not, keep going. But I already told him, I was like, if we take her in and I get her eating and get her thriving, she's never leaving us. Like, this is it. She's stuck. We're stuck with her. She's stuck with us. So I'm not putting all this work to just get rid of her in a couple of years. So
well, yeah, after putting all that work in, I like hell if I'd get rid of her. I mean, good grief. Like,
no,
that's like you developed a very special bond with that animal at that point.
And I mean, some people in here might disagree with me, and I look, I don't think it's to the degree of dogs and cats and whatnot, but I do think there's a certain like comfort level that she has gained with me, and I definitely feel a bond to her because I have that emotional ability. But I definitely think there's to some degree. There's definitely a comfort level, and she trusts us. She trusts me,
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, I totally get where you're coming from because that's where I'm at with the carpet here beside me. Like I was saying, we had a very rough patch there with all the nippiness, getting through that. Like after working through all of that nipping and biting and the bloodshed, like there's no way in hell I'm getting rid of that guy now because I can go in there, pull him out. And like I just had him out this weekend and my wife looked at me when I brought him out and she goes, "You brought him out instead of one of the other ones?" I was like, it's like I tried to tell her, like, he is not the same snake he was when she was last like really around him. And we were out there for I bet you I was outside for like 2 hours with him. And he's just like that was actually probably the most. He just sat there around my neck, perched, and didn't really move. Like he was legit just enjoying being outside, or so it seemed anyway.
Right.
But there's no like after all that hard work to get him to where he's at. Like hell, if I'm ever gonna get rid of him, like he's got a special place here.
That's how I feel about her too. I was like, I don't care what happens. She's never going anywhere.
Well, working with the animals is big, right? So sorry if there's any children, you might need to cover your ear for a second, but we have this animal that we got and we're going to breed him next year. We don't know if he's mahogany or blackhead, but he's a pastel something clown.
Okay.
And when we got him, this guy lit me up 27 times before he even made it out of the bag. I mean, he is all over it. And then we had him in clear tubs. So we use now the gray FB8s, but prior to that, we were using the clear V18s. Just us walking by the tub, he would strike at it. So we actually nicknamed him Dick. That was
Look, we don't name a lot of our snakes, but the ones that that I know aren't going anywhere are ones that deserve a name like that. They get them.
And we've now reached a point with him where he's very hungry. He eats every week, but he actually doesn't strike at us. He doesn't strike at the tub anymore. He's actually calm enough that if there's not a rat, he's okay.
Okay.
But my point to that story is exactly what you said. I think there's just, after a while, they realize you're not a threat. Is how I take it. Because at least at the most basic level, I think anybody can agree. They realize they're at least not being threatened.
Exactly.
So once you take that threat factor away from them, like I said, most of our animals, we don't really have issues. But once they smell rat in the air, then, all bets are off. I will get tagged if I'm not careful, but you can't blame the animal at that point. They're hungry. I'm the same way. If you put your hand in front of my food, it might not be there for a while. So,
Funny thing that you say that. Funny ongoing joke between me and my sister-in-law and myself. Every year at Thanksgiving, my grandmother, which is no longer with us, she would always make these homemade pumpkin pies. and it was by far the best pumpkin pie I've ever had in the world my whole life, and nothing touches it even to this day. At Thanksgiving, we'd be sitting around, everybody be getting, what they wanted for desserts. Nobody would ever touch the pumpkin pie but me, for whatever reason. And the one time she started reaching over to it, and I just grabbed the knife and I sat here with it like underneath my chin. You just try it. And I just gave her this look. And ever since then, it was like just the ongoing joke that nobody touches my pumpkin pie type of deal. But
no, that's funny though. I mean, because and again, I feel like in the snake world, right? At least with our experience, I feel like that's how it becomes. Like they smell rats and they do the same thing. It's like, that's my rat. I accidentally put a male in before with a girl who thought she was getting fed.
Oh,
and she stopped the male, and that poor male was scared for his life for like 3 days. I left him in there. He did not move from the front side of the tub for 3 days. So I had to take him out and like give him a reset, because that poor girl thought that she was getting fed. Yeah. And she didn't wrap him up, but she caught him good. And he stood at the front and he said, "Screw it. I'm not going near her."
She's all here right now.
I had something similar happen with these guys. I had two together. I was feeding the rest of the collection, and I mean, they were fairly close to in proximity to one another, and the one moved quick. They caused the other one to just swing over and just reaction strike, and they wrapped each other up. And I heard all this. I turned around and I'm like, oh my God, like what the hell? Like,
right,
this is not good. And by the time I could even react to it, they unlatched and like uncoiled. And it's like, okay, thank God. It's like that would have been bad. Yeah, I was scared to death. It's like my heart dropped. It's like, oh my God. I've heard of it, but only when they were feeding.
Right. So I had a female here. She is angry. She's another one. She lit me up before I even got her out of the bag when I bought her as a 200-gram hatchling. And she was hissing. So I put in this male, and I thought, hey, maybe I usually touch my snakes with the hook on their head and kind of teach them like, hey, I'm going to mess with you, or I'm going to clean the tub, whatever. I don't know if it works or not. It's just kind of a little experiment that I'm doing.
I think it works. I'm a believer in it.
Yeah, generally I can touch them. Yeah, I could just quickly touch them with the hook on their head, or sometimes just make them push their head inside their body a little bit, and then they know, okay, he's going to bother me for a couple minutes, and then he's going to be gone. Yep. So I put a male in there. I did the same thing. Poor girl cornered this male. I just hear her hissing for like 15 minutes. It's one of the days I work from home. And I just hear her hissing. And then finally I hear like movement in the tub, and I open it. He's on the cold side, and she is just ready to go, just ready to strike. Jeez. So I took him out, and about maybe 2 weeks later, I said, screw it, I'm going to try it again. I think she was sleeping. So I opened it, threw him in real quick, and closed it. She hissed for about 5 minutes. I think the next morning they were locked. So I was like, good for him. He conquered his fears.
Like you would hear her like just in the room.
And she would hiss for a long time. Yeah. So when you would look at her, you would see her body just completely expand. She would fill it up as much as she possibly could for each hiss. I mean, she is just angry. I don't know why. She's just not having
Even
it.
But when I clean her tub, like just pulling it out, she starts hissing already.
I've heard of, there's a few of them out there that act like that. I've got one. He's a chocolate triple het. Whenever you open the tub up, he's locked and loaded and ready to rock and roll on you. But if you just come in from the backside on him real quick and pick him up, he just kind of say, all right, well, never mind, forget that.
Right. Yeah, just a quick give up, like, all right, you win this round, you know?
Yeah, but every time though you open that tub up, every time he's ready to light you up. If you just gotta diffuse him quickly.
Yeah, and all these snakes, they have their own personalities, and I think people ask what's the hardest part with them, and I said honestly, it's the feeding. Each snake has their own different way of doing it. Like Erica said, we feed primarily frozen thawed, but I have animals here that I have to leave it with them overnight because they just happen to eat at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter what I do. They just want to eat alone. Yeah. I think figuring out the feeding for each animal is the most difficult part. But once you have that, they're easy. you know?
And then you also have the ones like, for me, like it seems like breeding, like when everybody's breeding, even the males that aren't in the breeding rotation for that season or at, being used then because they're backups, like even my backups have gone off food just because of all the pheromones in the air, and it drives you freaking nuts. I've got females that aren't building, but hopefully they'll be good to go for next season, that are off food. The only thing I can think of, it's either the 1,000-gram wall, which I hate to say that it is that because I feed every 2 weeks, or it's just the pheromones in the air that's got them thinking on other things, even though they're not at that stage where they're breeding yet. So it screws with you. They're not easy on that aspect.
And I'm actually, it's funny that you mentioned the bi-weekly feeding. We actually moved to that about maybe 6 months ago.
Okay.
So the only things I'll feed weekly are the really small babies. But everything else, once they're like 200 grams, everything gets fed bi-weekly. And honestly, it has changed our rat bill. Is almost cut in half.
Yep.
The amount of cleaning that we have to do is cut by even more than half. I want to say almost 3/4 because there's not much poop. There's not much waste. They are pretty much absorbed, and I have not seen a decline in their growth.
No, I'm right there with you.
They're absorbing all the nutrients as opposed to some of the nutrients.
Yes. No, I'm right there with you. The double head Exantic clown girl that I have breeding this year, she was from my very first clutch of my first season. So I'm on my third season. So she's only just now hitting 2 years old, and she's already up at that breeding size. So I mean, there's proof to the whole, every 2 weeks feeding, it does, the growth still goes how it goes. I mean, I'm sure if you've got a snake you're pumping full of food like every week, yeah, they might be a little bit bigger, but you spent all that extra money to get it to that size, and it's probably not that much bigger to begin with.
Right.
It's all like, I don't know if were you on Billy's Patreon at all?
No.
Okay. Billy had a guy, Dr. Warren Booth, on. I forget what his breeding name is, but he's a doctor nonetheless. When a snake is digesting, their heart enlarges, their plasma gets thicker. Like there's a whole crap ton of stress that goes on in their body just to digest a rodent or just to digest whatever they've eaten. And doing every 2 weeks allows their heart to kind of go back to a normal size for a brief moment. It kind of lets everything return to a normal state before amping it back up again. Where if you're feeding every freaking week, their body doesn't get that rest. It's literally running full bore 24/7, and it doesn't get that reset break. So it's supposedly a lot healthier to do the every 2 weeks feeding.
Yeah, and that could be why so many people would say, hey, I don't know what happened. I had a perfectly healthy animal and it just dropped dead. Like they opened the tub and it's just gone. And I think M&K said for the breeder females. So I actually took a risk and did the same thing for them as well this year. And honestly, they're all building follicles the way they have been in the past. Again, what I would say is a lot less waste. And I tend to get more animals to eat on a bi-weekly basis than I was on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, I felt like I was playing round robin, like, okay, you didn't eat. Now who will take a second one and who won't? And now I feel like I do that a lot less. I take out a few less rats. Struggling over there?
I was going to say, Erica's got a little bit of a problem going on over there. Her hair tie doesn't want to let go.
She literally just tangled herself in my hair and just stopped, like made herself comfortable.
So breeder females, everything. The only thing I will not do that with is hatchlings. Hatchlings, I do enjoy feeding them every 4 to 5 days, little small hoppers. But I think it kind of introduces them to feed more and to understand that this is food and they have to do this. And then, like I said, once they reach 150 grams or so, 200 grams, then I go to biweekly. And again,
Yeah.
feeding frozen thawed, I can go with a little bit of a bigger meal without having the concern of, man, they're not strong enough or big enough to really take down this rat, and there's no real fear.
Yeah. Because I know, like, I start my hatchlings off, if they'll do it, it's always a 50-50 toss-up. I always, first offering of food is always a frozen thawed rat pup.
Okay.
If they don't go for that, then I go for the live mouse hopper. Just because normally the live mouse hopper is the ticket if they don't take the frozen thawed rat pup. But like you, after they hit that 200 gram mark, they're going on to every other week for feeding. But I do try to make sure that what I'm feeding them lets a little lump in their stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, now my males, like my adult males, they only get a small rat every 2 weeks. My adult females get a medium rat every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, I mean, and it's worked out great for me.
My adult males will get a small once a month in the off season.
Okay.
So if they're not breeding, they get a small once a month, or they'll get an extra. Like if sometimes they'll take down a medium because my adult breeder females didn't want to take it, so I'll give it to the male. While they're breeding, I feed them bi-weekly, but I give them a wean.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do is not have them in that lethargic state because they're trying to digest the food. I try to keep them at a point where they're okay.
Yeah, where they're getting the nutrients that they need, but they've got the energy to
replenish all the calories that they're burning while they're breeding, but not make it so big of a meal that they're going to struggle, because I've done that. I fed before a medium, and that male couldn't even move. He was like just kind of half rolled over. He kind of gave that sideways roll like the females do, because it was just such a big meal. Yeah. And I almost couldn't breed him for about 2 weeks because he needed to get that through.
No, I believe I know even some of the smalls I've fed some of my males, like they were probably closer to the medium size. And like you said, after they did take it, they just kind of, you had to make sure that they at least had a week before they were getting paired to help get that meal digested a little bit to get them back to where they wanted to move around.
Yeah, absolutely. And
give it a shot, M&K. I mean, I like doing every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it won't hurt. I promise. I wouldn't recommend this if it was going to hurt your season. But seeing that we're going to have an off season here soon, this might be your best opportunity to try it with minimal impact. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I love the fact that we're not flying through 10 blocks of, Reptichip and stuff, because when I was feeding weekly, I felt like it was constant. I felt like all we were doing was just cleaning. And now that we've gone to bi-weekly, I'm like, man, have they even pooped? Have they used the bathroom? Because often it's just a quick water change, maybe a couple urates, you pop that out, and I'm like, it's over. But when it was weekly, it was literally full cleans all the time because it was just poop everywhere.
Yep. And I don't know if you noticed it for yours, but it seems like for mine, when one goes, they all go. It seems like it's just like a domino effect. But then, like you said, then you go a long time before you have another domino effect poop.
You know what I've noticed? They tend to go right after I clean them. Beautiful, brand straight, and then I hear it, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Like I just spent all day doing this.
There are times that we just finished cleaning. We're literally like sweeping up the floor. Like we haven't even left the room yet. And you just hear one of them going to the bathroom. And she's like, I haven't even left the room yet. Like, how rude can you be?
That's probably the most aggravating part of this hobby, is that right there.
So we try to not do full cleans as much as possible. So what we'll do is we'll clean out the area that was dirtied.
Okay.
Clean that out, clean the surrounding area. Obviously, if there's anything smeared onto the tubs and stuff, we wipe that down. But we keep very, very little dirty substrate. It's usually not poops, it's
dirty
usually
substrate, like,
it's usually like urine and stuff, and then we'll put new substrate and mix it in. We've realized with that they don't go off of food as much, because when we first started, we were doing full cleans. Oh, there's a poop, there's a urate, dump everything, completely clean down the tub, you know, a chlorhexidine or whatever, clean it all out. Getting them to eat would take anywhere between 3 weeks and 4 weeks. Again, this isn't a like 100% rule, but we were seeing that the majority of our collection was struggling to eat for a few weeks until they had a little bit of a dirty tub. So what we did was we keep it a little dirty, nothing that's actually bad, nothing that smells, but it's enough that makes them feel, hey, this is my home.
It still has their scent in it, so
Correct.
they're more comfortable.
They're comfortable, and we realized that I could clean them that day and feed an hour later, and they'll eat.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about. As long as they're eating and shedding correctly and using the bathroom correctly, we're 95% of the way there.
See, that's basically how I do mine, though, too, is like I'll do massive spot cleans, and then I'll replace, you know, what I took out basically with a fresh cup of, you know, of cocoa to go. But then, like, I'll hold off on the big tub cleans, and, you know, for, I don't want to say as long as possible, but I try not to do too big tub cleans like too often, just for that reason, just to help keep their scent in there and keep them on food and feeling that they're okay where they're at. What are some of what are some of your anticipated clutches for this season?
I would say, that hitting that stranger hypo clown would be amazing. Outside of that, that crazy girl that I said almost tried to take out that male, I think she has leopard in her, and she actually went to the spot nose hurricane head clown, so I could potentially hit a pastel hurricane Batman this year if she proves out to be leopard. Ooh. So I just think that would be really cool. I don't know what it looks like. I tried to, look it online. I don't know if anyone produced it yet. I don't know. But I just feel like that would be something that's pretty cool. And I'm also working the Grim project. That male is struggling to go to a lot, but he's actually locking consistently with a Mojave clown of ours.
Okay.
So maybe
there's not many people working that project that I know of anyway.
Yeah, there's not a lot out there. So I think it'd be pretty cool to not be one of the first guys, but I think it'd be pretty cool to be in that area where we can kind of mess with it a little bit more than maybe what's been out there.
Now, what drew you to want to get into the Grim project?
So Joe had him. I forget where Joe purchased him from, but Joe produced a visual boy of him. And in my opinion, the Grim het clown, he doesn't look like anything special. He just looks like a weird normal. The boy that he produced, though, his son, is insane, extreme pixelation. So when Joe said, hey, I made the visual, I made his son, I'm getting rid of him, I was like, yeah, I'll take him. Because I was like, if you made that, I was like, I'd love to get into that project. And it did draw me into that not many people were working the project yet.
Okay. So
again, I'm not trying to say like, I'm a pioneer of it. I just think it's cool that it's not an overly saturated part of the market yet. So I think it'd be pretty nice to get into it now before it does get saturated.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I haven't heard like you guys, and then the only other person that I heard of that had Grim was Sal of House of Gaia Pythons. I knew he was working with Grim, but he's up there in Canada, so like that's completely different market anyway. Yeah, not many people are working with it, so that when you said that, it really perked my interest up there. What can you show off the Grim that you have?
Yeah. Erica, can you get it? Yep, that's not a problem. So like I said, I don't think he looks like much, but what drew me into it was seeing the big, I saw his son, and then also I was like, holy crap, that visual is just gorgeous.
Now, Grim's just an incomplete dominant, correct? It's not recessive. Or is it recessive?
No, it's incomplete.
Okay.
So and then the cool thing is the name Grim is awesome, first of all. So whoever came up with that name, really cool. And if you have a super version of it, it's called a Grim Reaper.
Okay.
Again, really cool name. Like,
I was gonna say
so that kind of helps to sell itself. But he locked up to 2 girls. He locked up to a het clown. I'm not sure if she's going to go, but he has been locking up a lot to a Mojave clown, and she's big. I think empty, she's already like 2,500 grams.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So this right here is our Grim het clown boy. So
Yeah,
again,
you're right. I mean,
he doesn't look crazy. He really
yeah.
could pass as like a normal or a weird normal, but
Yeah, as I say, you can tell there's something going on, but it's not like massive. It doesn't scream at you.
correct. Nothing here makes you say, "Ooh, I have to have that animal."
Yeah.
You know, and I'm well aware of that. But like I said, when you see his offspring and you see the visuals of it, that's what drew me to him.
Very nice, though.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see where you guys take that project, because maybe it'll be something that I'll dive into or something.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely, I'll probably go the hypo route and the DG route. So a lot of people don't like hypo.
I don't get why.
So I think part of it is just like because it's not DG. So I think it's just more of it's not the more expensive animal. Personally, I love hypo, and I like hypo. And I like hypo clowns. I like hypopides, although I do not have any hypopides. Thank you. I like hypo clowns. So I don't know. I think it would be fun to work that project in and see what it does, right? It's going to take some time, but again, it's one of those where if it comes out well and it looks good, then great. And if it doesn't, then well.
Yeah, exactly. On hypo into anything dark, I don't think you can go wrong with.
Right.
I love that frosting look that it gives to the snakes. Got a GHI Mojave chocolate girl here, and that's hypo, and she's just drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah, and I think what I like about hypo, and especially what you just said, is in the dark jeans, it gives it it's almost like a smoky look.
Yeah,
smoky, and like really cool about that. I think DG is better with your lighter jeans. So anything that you want to really enhance, you want it to pop, I think that's where DG is the better recessive. But anything that is dark and you want to kind of highlight, it's almost like you're lightening up a dark jean, but you're not at the same time. I know that sounds a little weird, but I think that's where hypo does better. Hypo is better on the dark side, and I think DG is better for the brightening.
Yes. I've always looked at it as DG is more for contrast. Like if you want your blacks to be black and give you that contrast between the blacks and the lights, that's your route to go. Hypo, like you said, I mean, it just complements the blacks and adds a level of brightness at the same token. Enhancer, which is basically like DG, I look at it as if you want the brightness, but you don't really care about having the blackest of blacks. That's kind of how I've started to look at just that whole little group.
Yeah, I've never seen I can't say I've never seen Enhancer in person, but I haven't seen enough of it to know. But it is, I think, by definition, a line of Desert Ghost, right? Because they are
they're supposed to be compatible.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
just a different line. I think that's actually why they're struggling on the genetic testing of it, is because it's a different line of the same one. It's not the same reading across the board. Charlie would know that a lot better than I would, but I think he said that's part of the struggle with DG, is that there are different lines of it, but they're compatible. So I don't know. Yeah. I like it though. I mean, I know Billy is all about Enhancer. He doesn't. I don't even think he ever uses the word DG. I think it's all just Enhancer. I think that's all he says. So
I don't think he might have one DG, maybe. I don't know, but like you said, it's basically Enhancer everything up there.
Yeah.
We'll get to wrapping this up here. everybody, if you've got any questions for Erica and David, drop them in the chat here quick before we wrap this up. We're approaching that 2 hours and 30 minutes point, and I don't want to keep these folks up too late because they've got to wake up in the morning and go to work tomorrow too. I do want to know, though, do you guys plan on getting into any other species in the future, or are you just going to basically stick strictly with the ball pythons?
Probably not in the near future, but the reason when we first started this and we were throwing around like names for our business, we were like, you know, looking along the lines of like python, whatever, or ball python, whatever. And we were like, well, let's not generalize it to let's not keep it just that, because if we want to do something in the future, then, you know, we're kind of stuck or we have to change our name or whatever. So that's why we came up with Exotics. It's our initials and then Exotics. And yeah, and then we stuck with that. So probably we might get into other things down the line. As of this moment, we're just staying with ball pythons, but as long as our name is good, we can change the logo. Like right now, like this was based off of our first snake that we got as a pet. Like we sent the guy that designed it a picture of that snake and he came up with this. So, you know, we can always change that if we get into other things, you know, but
I love the logo. I wouldn't change it. I'd love the logo.
Yeah,
build the brand.
I do too.
It looks nice.
We went
Thank
for a
you.
Jurassic Park kind of feel, like the old school Jurassic Park. That was kind of the inspiration of it. So, and then purple is Erica's favorite color. So I said, yeah, we could make it purple and then go kind of with the, you know, kind of grungy background. So yeah, so appreciate it. Glad you like it.
Yeah, thank you.
I do like it. Like it looks very, very nice, and it stands out too, which is also good. But yeah, you guys got a killer logo. I wouldn't go changing, even if you branch into something else, just because you're going to get that logo. Everybody's going to know it.
That's
And
true.
then if you change it, you got to go through this whole rebranding thing. That would be a headache.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be a whole headache I wouldn't want to think about.
Yeah, exactly.
I went through 3 different logos until I landed on the one that I've got now. And they all based around the Exantic zebra, like the zebra beast, basically. It was all based around that because I love Exantic so much. But, you know, I'm working with carpet pythons too. And it's like, I wasn't fully satisfied with my original logo. So I kept trying to change it to incorporate the carpets into it as well. And I finally landed on what I've got now. And it's like, okay, this works. I like it. We're not changing it ever again.
Right.
So even if I get into something else, it's not like you're not altering it. The green's staying. It is what it is now at this point.
Yeah, the name probably took us weeks before we decided on the name. And then the logo itself probably took us about another week. So it was just more of, hey, let's take our time with this, because what I didn't want to do is exactly what you said. I wouldn't go through a rebrand process. I wanted to have the name. At least the name had to be perfect, because I was like, to change your name, I think is the most difficult unless you already have a huge following. Like when Justin rebranded, there's no way that nobody's gonna be like, who the hell's Canova? Like, no, like he's big enough that he could rebrand and it wouldn't hurt him. But rebranding at, you know, 100 followers on Instagram is not the end of the world, but it's like you're basically starting from scratch again, in my opinion. So we at least wanted the name to be perfect. We figured, hey, a logo, we could always change it, but let's at least put our best foot forward and try to produce the best logo that we could think of at the time. So that way it would, if we did change it, it wouldn't have to be for a few years.
Exactly. But like, I mean, you've got a story behind it. You've got inspiration. It means something to you.
Right.
So yeah,
We're kind of lucky that our initials together made up a pretty cool name. So
I was gonna say, yeah, it all flows so nice. Like, yeah. I really like it, guys. I really do.
Thank you.
Like trying to figure it out. We're like putting his like D for like it was like all these different combinations of our initials, and then we were trying to think of just other ones that had nothing to do with our initials, and then I don't remember who actually organized them to Edge, but
yeah, I don't remember.
One of us, obviously, but yeah, it just worked out. So
it works. It flows. It sounds good. I love it.
Yeah, there was a lot of tequila that inspired it. So I was just sitting there like I must have had like 4 pieces of paper of just writing things and moving things around and crossing it out and lots of cursing. But
We're like, we're overthinking this. We need to loosen up a little.
I feel your pain on that because at one point, like I bounce ideas off my wife, which she just looks at me half the time and just tells me I'm being stupid or that's a dumb idea anyway. But like the one, like I almost went with Warfels balls, and I did, and like I liked it. I was like, I could come up with some funny stuff with this. And I got the thing. It's like it's not the most professional thing though.
right.
So that's where it started kicking me into a different direction. It's like, all right, I want to do this, in the long run. This is what I want to do full time. Like 7 more years yet is my goal, and I'm doing this full time, hopefully.
Nice.
So, again, put me in that mindset. You've got to come up with something that's professional, clean, and that it just flows, it works, and it's got some meaning to it. And I'm not very imaginative. I'm not gonna lie. So I just went with my last name, and I thought, well, morphs work best. One is just you're just flipping the W, and you could do some neat logo things or neat sticker things with that. But it's like there's morphs in carpets, there's morphs in every species of snake. Basically, it's like it doesn't lock me into just that one thing.
Yeah,
that's what we were going for too.
And our last name, right, is most people don't know how to pronounce it. So I was like, well, if we do that, it's just gonna cause more chaos than it's gonna do anything else. So at least you have a unique last name that's pretty cool. And I get it. Like I know so many guys that I'd never call them by their first name because their last name is just one of those names where it just flows. It's just easier, and it's like that's who they are. It's basically more of their first name than it is their last name. So you got a cool one there where it's easy enough.
Yeah.
I grew up being called Waffle. Like if I had $1 for every waffle joke I heard growing up, I would be a rich man. But now that being said, though, is there what species, if you would decide to get into one, what species strikes your interest?
What do you have?
I don't know at this moment.
I would probably go lychees.
Ooh, okay.
I really like them.
Leopard geckos too. I don't know about breeding them, but I definitely want to own one at some point. I think they're really cute.
My buddy Danny picked up, I think it's called is it a dark night, a black night? I think it's a dark night. And it's a leopard gecko. The thing's all black.
That's cool.
Thing is wicked looking.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He came over, he showed it. I was helping him vend a show. And he came over, showed me this thing. I was like, man, it's like, that's awesome. He told me the price tag. It's like, dear God, please. I hope you've got better luck with leopard geckos than what I've ever had with leopard geckos.
Yeah.
I hear they're tricky.
I would probably go lychee, like I said, just because they're like dinosaurs.
They're really cool.
They're big. They're like you said, they're dinosaur looking. And I was shocked with how expensive they are. I didn't realize how expensive they were because I've never looked at them like price wise, but they're really expensive lizards.
Yeah, and then they have different ones that I could be butchering this, but I think they have something that's called GTs. All right, so I guess those are like the mainland ones, and they are massive. I mean, they can get that big because one of the guys in our group, Big E's Reptiles, he has lychees as well. He has ball pythons and he breeds rats and stuff like that, but he also has lychees. And whenever I go to his house, sometimes I'll ask him like, hey, can we take one out? And I mean, dude, it takes up my forearm sometimes.
Good.
One lychee. So they're pretty cool.
Massive lizard.
So they're pretty cool. I mean, I'm the kind of person, again, I go big or go home, right? So I would love to have like a lace monitor or something like that, but that would actually eat me.
Yeah.
And
talk about sizing you up.
There's something kind of fun about that, but at the same time, there's something a little scary about knowing that this thing really could take you out if you really pissed it off.
It goes with the Jurassic Park theme, though.
That it does. That it does. Definitely plays right into that.
It does, yeah. If I was to get a monitor, I'd want one of those the green tree monitors.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, they don't I don't think they get terribly huge, but they seem for Jurassic Park reference, it kind of reminded me of a compy. I mean, just the way they jump around and act, like that's kind of what they remind me of.
I think I like the intelligence of monitors.
Yes,
I think
they
that
are
part is very
smart.
intriguing because they are so smart, which also makes them a bit of a problem to keep because they understand how to work latches and doors and where there's a hole. So, but I think there's something about the intelligence of them that's nice as opposed to, having ball pythons where I think they share the same brain cell for the entire species.
Yeah,
But
the lights are on, but sometimes the lights aren't even on.
yeah, so I think that part would be pretty cool. But I also want to get into fish.
Okay.
At some point, I'd like to have a freshwater tank, saltwater tank just for the house. And then again, I'm always looking at ways, how can I make more money? How can I breed something? Because I think it's fun.
I have a newfound enjoyment in axolotls.
Oh God, my niece wanted to get one of those so bad.
It was like, okay, like we can get one, we can get axolotls someday. And he's like, but we're getting a male and a female, and we're gonna at least breed them. I was like, have a pet? He's like, nope, it gotta earn it.
It's gotta earn its keep, damn it.
Any animal that enters this house is paying rent, so it is breeding. It is gonna make money, even if that money is just to pay for itself. Then I'm okay with that. But you're gonna pay for your own food. You're going to pay for your own substrate, your own little toys, whatever it is, no problem. But you're going to earn your keep here.
The last local reptile show here, he was away for. He had his annual conference for work. And I was like, I'm going to go. I knew a few people who were vending and whatnot. So it was Baker's first time vending. So I wanted to pop by and say hi to him and whatnot, support. I knew a couple other people too. So I went anyway, and I was like, don't be surprised if you come home from Denver and there's an axolotl here. He's like, just make sure there's two. Like, we can get the second one another time, but don't be surprised if there's at least one. There was not. I resisted.
My niece wanted one in the worst way, and I was telling my brother, I was like, dude, I don't know much about them. I was like, but if you want to get because he was all about an easy pet. I was like, why don't you just get a snake from me? Like, just, if I get one that I don't really like, if it's going to be, and this sounds bad to say, but if I hit something that's going to be more of a pain in the ass to try to sell, then anything is like, just you can just have it. Right. And he goes, oh, no, I don't want to have to deal with, feeding a snake or whatever. My brother's not afraid of snakes, for crying out loud, either. But yet, he was really entertaining this axolotl idea. And then they went to the local pet shop, found out what all these things need, and I knew that they were going, so I gave them a couple hours, and I sent them a text because I think we had the girls here. I think we had my nieces here that day. And I sent them a text. I was like, so how'd it go? He goes, yeah, no, we're not getting one.
They're high maintenance than I thought they were.
I think he said for how the pet shop was saying you need to have the tank set up. Like, it was like $500 or $600 just for the tank set up.
Yeah, they need a chiller, which is
they need the chiller thing, and it's like a whole freaking ordeal.
Yeah, and you can't really put them with other animals either because they'll try to eat them.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Axolotls are in the salamander family, so they will actually try to eat other things. That's why even if you put two axolotls together, from what I read, they need to be the similar size, because if one is larger than the other, it'll eat it.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're harder than I expected too. I was like, that's probably why I resisted buying it while he was away.
Yeah, that would be enough to kind of make me, put think a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I'm like,
I mean, they are neat though. Like
they're so
they're,
cute.
they're neat, but they're kind of freaky looking at the same time. The fact that they can regrow like their limbs and all that stuff.
Yeah,
That part is freaking neat. But
they're also another animal that looks like the lights aren't on. You know,
yes,
they look a little special, but you know, it's just like we love animals as a whole. Like if it was up to me, we'd have one of almost everything, or at least a breeding pair of almost everything. But
your own Noah's Ark.
At least.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing God's work here, right? So the idea is that, you know, we love animals, but it's just the daily maintenance animals are the ones that we wanted to avoid for a while. And again, like I said, with my work, it would have really fell on Erica because she's a teacher. So for her, it's, you know, she has a set schedule. And in my old job, I didn't have a set schedule. I could have meetings at 8, 9 o'clock at night that I had to be at. And so there was just so much inconsistency. I was like, all this is going to fall on your plate. The beauty of the snakes is it's okay if you don't feed them Monday and you feed them Wednesday. It's okay. They're going to be fine.
Yep.
You don't change their water today and you have to wait until Saturday, then it's okay. They will be okay. But you can't get away with that with geckos for the most part. You can't do it with chameleons. I mean, those things die even if all the parameters are correct. From what we've heard, they're not the hardiest of animals. So
yeah.
David,
Jamie, you're right on that one, dude. I've got a few of them at my work. It's like, just in case any of them are watching, we're not going to dive into this.
Yeah.
People at work.
There's times I'll tell Erica, like she'll look at me and I'm just like staring off into space, and she's like, "What are you thinking about?" I was like, "I don't know. My last 2 brain cells are just fizzling out right now." I was like, "I'm not really sure what happened. I think I panicked a little bit. I'm trying to reset."
We had friends over the other night, and we were sitting down eating, and I apparently I just spaced out and had this really like just dead to the world look. And our one friend, she's made a comment. She goes, "He's either like pondering something really important, or like he's just like lost all brain function." And when I finally like realized that what was going on and that I zoned out, you know, I tried to explain to her that like I've got so much going on in my head that sometimes I just space out, and I'm either I am thinking about something, or there's that much going on in my head. I spaced out and there's nothing going on in my head.
If one of us spaces out, we make this joke all the time. And it's like, oh, sorry, I had to reboot a second.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I'm with you on that one. I like that. The rebooting.
Oh. I'm back.
I saw a funny meme, and this is literally me. So it says, because I think the meme starts with like, "Oh, what's in your head?" or I would love to know like how your thought process is. And the meme says, it's like an internet browsing, you know, whatever, right? Like Internet Explorer, whatever. There's 17 tabs open, and I don't even know where the music is coming from. And I say that all the time because I literally will bust out into random songs all the time.
Random ones.
And Erica's like, "We haven't, like, that song hasn't been around since like 1991." And I was like, "I don't know. It popped in my head. I woke up and that's the song that was in my head." And then it's just like I always have a million thoughts. I'm always thinking about the next thing. I'm always trying to figure out the next thing. And it doesn't matter if it's bad or good or personal or snakes, whatever. I'm always in thought. I'm always thinking about what to do in the next thing. And that's why I think for the ball pythons, for me, it was really fun because it's a challenge. I didn't know it. You know, with my job was a challenge, but it wasn't challenging me. It wasn't stimulating me mentally. I had reached a point where I was basically one of the smartest guys in the room when we had a conversation. I knew almost every answer. Going into the ball python world, I was one of the dumbest guys in a conversation, and that challenge excited me. It excited me to say, okay, I am the dumbest person in this conversation, but I want to address it and I want to get better.
And he loves learning new things too. It like stimulates his brain.
Oh, nice. Matt's working the Grim Project too. That's awesome. It's called ADD.
And
Yeah, it could be.
Some people it's called that, Jamie. To some.
It could be. I mean, you know, I wouldn't know, but
I mean, our generation, it was very like, there was like a big stigma against ADD. It was just like, oh, you know, they just don't pay attention. You know, like, so
Yeah.
a lot of our generation is like not diagnosed, so it very well could be.
Yeah. Well, no, it would I mean, the ADD thing would explain a lot with how I am. I know my wife always says I get so super focused on one thing and like nothing else exists after I get focused on that. Like sometimes she gets on me about even like just the snakes. She's like, "You're too focused. Just pull back a little bit." It's like, no, we've got success. I've got a direction. We're going with it. We can't pull a squirrel out here somewhere and make my break my concentration. It's like I'm focused.
I literally used to keep a notepad on my nightstand, pen and paper, because I would wake up at 2:00 in the morning and just have a thought.
Okay.
And it would bother me if I didn't at least put the thought down on paper. But I stopped using my phone because then the lights on the phone, I would type it into my notes and now I'm awake. And now I'm like, well, screw it. I can't go back to sleep now. So now I'd get up, go to the bathroom real quick. And now I'm like, well, screw it. It's 2:30 in the morning. Now I'm up. So I'm going to just start watching videos, play some video games. I'm going to do something until I have to go to work in a few hours. And so I would literally pen and paper. I would just turn over, write some scribbles, and it would be just enough for my mind to say, okay, you wrote the idea down. You're not going to forget it.
See, I've had those moments where I've woken up like through a dream and I had a great idea in a dream. I thought, all right, no, it's like, it was that good of an idea. I won't forget it because, I wasn't smart enough to have a pen and paper around me. Went to sleep, went back to sleep, woke up the next morning, and I'd spend all day thinking, all right, now what the hell did I have a great epiphany about last night? And it never came back to me. Never. And it's just like, oh my God.
Could be a millionaire by now if you started writing those down.
Whatever it was, it probably was $1 million idea, and I'll never remember it. Never again. Oh, shoot. All right, my last question for you guys. I mean, I had a whole bunch of different topics to cover. This was just a great live. We had such great conversations. Like, I didn't even look at the questions, really. We just this was just a great live. I appreciate it, guys. Yeah. My last question for you is, do you have any tips for either, whether it be established breeders or new people coming into the hobby and industry? You have any tips for them getting started, whether it be YouTube or just breeding in general?
Do it.
Yeah, just take the leap and
do it.
Yeah. Somebody in a local reptile store around here, when we were thinking about it, he said that he gave us that exact advice. And, because he came over, oh, what are you looking for today? And he ended up being the owner of the store. And we're like, oh, I don't know. Like we have one. We're thinking about getting another one. We're thinking about getting into breeding. And he's like, just do it. Just try. He's like, it doesn't hurt to try. Get a handful of breeding pairs and give it a shot. So if it doesn't work, you can come over here and wholesale them to me. I'll buy them off of you. So it was cool. And it's just take the leap and do it. And, as far as YouTube goes, I was nervous to start YouTube. You watch a couple of our first videos, I feel like I'm super awkward. I still feel awkward. I feel awkward right now. I mean, but you definitely get more comfortable as you go. And YouTube is like the way of the world right now. Like soon enough, YouTube is going to be, everything's already on YouTube. But I feel like it's a good way to get your name out there and meet people and just kind of, even if you just do, I don't know. It's worth it.
Yeah. And the one thing I would tack on to that is obviously just do it. But yeah, you want to ensure that you do your research and things like that. But what I would say is don't. So this is me, right? And I didn't want to jump into YouTube or into breeding until I felt like I had everything perfected in my head. So I was stopping myself from understanding that I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not going to put out the best product on my first few videos, first few posts, but people actually enjoy watching the progress that you make. That was something I had to mentally get over because I felt like I want to hit the ground running. I want to hit the ground and people go, this guy's got 20 subscribers, but he's got beautiful lighting, beautiful audio, beautiful videos. And I realized that it's actually better if I started off with shitty quality, you know, because people would be like, hey, you could see the progress. Like as they're going, they got a better camera, they bought a better microphone, they started seeing something, and people actually enjoy the process. So, but the idea of just do it. I mean, look, I'm not asking somebody to spend $100,000 on a collection if they can't afford it. But our first breeding pair, or our first clutch and everything, was a regular banana to a regular normal female. We're talking about a $300 pair of animals. And that was our first clutch, 10 eggs. And that gave us more experience. That $300 gave me more experience than any YouTube video, any post, any forum I read for $300. So most people can afford $300. Even if your first clutch is a normal to a normal, just do it. You'll get that experience of pulling the clutch, put it in the incubator, taking pictures of babies, taking pictures of the adults. You can do it at a very low price and have minimal risk, decent reward.
Yes. And with the YouTube thing, I think the best thing is just do it. Like you can sit, like I used to sit here all day long. My one buddy does YouTube as well. He's got like three or four different channels. And he kept bugging me. He's like, dude, he goes, just do it. I was like, nah, I don't have enough animals to do a YouTube channel yet. But he's going to get it. Because I think I only had 12 snakes at the time. And I was like, you know, everybody's going to get tired of seeing the 12 snakes. It's like, I'm still learning. It's like, what the, you know, who the hell's going to want to watch my dumb ass? And he kept bugging me about it. And finally, I was like, John, I was like, fine. All right. When the first clutch lays, that'll be our first video, is me pulling a clutch. So that was my very first video, and I was just finishing the snake room. I didn't have the lights plugged in yet, but I was I wanted to start the video off in the snake room, and I didn't realize until afterwards, like how terrible those videos were. So if you really want a good laugh and a slight thought of like Michael Myers type of deal, to the video, watch like my very first one or two videos, because down here in the snake room, I thought I had decent lighting, but looking back, and when I went back and rewatched those videos, it's like, God, I looked like just a silhouette in a corner. I don't know. I don't think you could really see me even. I mean, and it's like, oh my God, it's like, this was freaking like horrendous. It's like, no wonder it took so long for like anybody to really watch my shit.
Yeah.
And, I like to think I'm improving every time I do this.
Yeah.
I like to think that the lives are improving every time we do it. And, tonight we just had all these awesome people that weren't the first time, in the chat, or they might not pop in as very often. But tonight we had a hell of a lot of big names come in this chat. And a lot of that's because of you guys. But I also like to think, now maybe they enjoyed the content and they'll be back for, next week's live or whatever. So every week I like to think that everything improves just a minuscule amount, just a little bit of improvement every time.
I mean, we were hesitant to do YouTube at first too, because we're like, who are we? We're new breeders. We just started. Why do they want to hear from us? Like, even 3 years in, I'm still like, who are we? There's a lot more people out there that are definitely bigger and have been doing it a lot longer. But I think the cool thing about our channel, not to toot our own horn a little bit, but I think the cool thing about us is we are still learning, and we're sharing what we're learning as we're learning it. Like, we put out a video maybe 6 months ago about how to break down a block of ReptiChip. And it's simple, but it was just like, these are things that we were questioning when we started. But then maybe a month ago, or, we put out another one, and it was like about breaking ReptiChip, but David found a better way to do it. And it basically just like falls apart now. And it's like, and we put up another video and we're like, look, we had another process of doing it. We've been doing this the past couple of times and it's been working great. So we want to share this new thing. We just I'm sure other people do it that way, but that we discovered, that we started doing, we started doing it differently. So we're going to share that. And we're pretty open about everything. Like, it was kind of hard for me to share, Stevie's story too, because I felt like I messed up. I felt very guilty when I fed her too soon, and then she had that split on her, like down her neck, you know, like I felt very guilty, and it was like hard for me to share, but I'm being like open about it, you know? So I think because it was a learning process, like it was a process for me, and like learning it too, and figuring out how to care for it, and she pulled through, you know? So I think that's the cool thing about our channel, because we do show things as we're learning. And I think that's why people seem to like us so far, and why people relate to us, you know?
I also think it helps form that, like, a bond. Like, people feel that they've been there more from the start, and like they get to grow with you and experience things at the same time as you. I think it just kind of it knits you and your community a little bit more together.
I think it also shows that you don't have to have the ability to dump $500,000 into it, because that's what we felt. Like, for the longest time, I would say, man, our collection's okay. And she would say, no, we're doing very well for new people
where we are, you know?
And I was comparing myself to some of the bigger guys that I know, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm talking about like my personal friends, and I'm like, yeah, but I've got, I don't know, 10 pieds here, 10 pied females, but I'm like, but they're not, it's just pied. And I would, like, Erica and especially, but other people would say, yeah, but you just got into this and you're a guy that can say I have 10 pied breeder females. And I'm like, but in my head, I'm like, yeah, but they're not combos. It's not like it's an ODYB, like, and they're like, but you got to start somewhere, and you've started pretty strong.
Well, at one point he was like comparing us to Reptile Creations. Like, he's Anthony. I'm like, he's been doing this for so long, like maybe 15 years or something. So it's like, you can't compare it to him. Like, you can't compare. This is our 3rd year. Like, you can't compare our collection to his. He's been in this game a lot longer. And even he tells us that we've done really well with how long we've been in this, and again, a lot of that is kind of owed to him. Like, he helped us out a lot with that, but it's just cool. But I would tell him for a while, like, oh, you can't compare that. Like, stop comparing us to other people. Look at our collection and look at the facts. This is where we're at in this short amount of time.
And I think that's where a lot of, and it might maybe even be why some people get out as quick as they do too, is because they start comparing themselves to their friends that have been in it longer, or the Billies and the Just, like, and all that. Like, you can't compare yourself to anybody. It's not a race to the finish. I guess maybe you could say there's a race to the finish, but I mean, it's more like just a long ass marathon that never ends.
The only thing you should be comparing it to is your collection, is your practice, is your system, your process better than what it was yesterday?
Yes.
Right? Have you improved as a keeper? If the answer is yes, then that's the process. That's the progress you should be looking at. And that's the progress that you should be holding yourself to. That's the standard. It doesn't matter what the next guy or girl is doing. It's just, are you better than what you were yesterday, a week before, a month before? Are you doing better? And if your answer is yes, and we're making the improvements we need, that's what you need. And that's what I'm now learning. And that mindset has made me feel like I do belong here. I do belong in this community doing this, because we are better than what we were a year ago, 2 years ago, and we've made these leaps and bounds. So that part keeps me motivated, because I say, okay, can we be better next year?
Yeah.
And it's an obtainable goal, right? The goal is, can we do better? The answer should always be yes.
Totally agree, dude. Totally agree. All right, well, believe it or not, we're like a couple seconds away from 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you guys get to bed. Hang on here 1 second, though. Everybody, thank you. I think we've got 16 people still watching this.
That's awesome.
We were up in like all but 40 or in the 40s tonight. So we've had a great group in the chat tonight. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us and tuning in. Next week, I've got Paul of Large Marge Morphs joining us. And then on the 30th, I've got my Morelia buddy, Eric Burke of EB Morelia joining us. And we're going to be talking carpet python, some of the other Australian species he works with, his trips to Australia, because I think he takes a trip to Australia like every year. So really looking forward to that, because everybody knows a lot of the content on the channel is ball python related. But carpets, man, I tell you what, carpets hold a special place in my heart. They are probably, man, I hate to say it just because I've got, ball pythons are the main focus of Warfels Morphs. But the carpets, I just take my breath away, and they are hands down my favorite snakes in the whole collection. Not only because when you interact with them, the lights are on and someone is home, but I mean, like just how can you not love that?
Cool.
Really cool.
That is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just stunning. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out our sponsors of the episode, please. That would be my good friend Nate at Infinite Possible Pythons. Make sure you guys check him out. If you have any branding needs or he's working some killer ball python projects, some Chihuahua geckos he also works with, or Kahua. I forget how that's pronounced. Anyway, he's working with some geckos that are kind of like cresties and leechies and stuff like that. They're really awesome looking, and some corn snake projects. Check him out. The ball python projects, though, folks, definitely keep an eye out, because he's got some killer stuff that there's like nobody working with. And it's probably be dropping in, I'm going to say, another couple of years, like a year or two or something like that, maybe. Just, might want to keep your ears open and eyes open. Yeah, ears open and eyes open as to what's going on with Nathan. All of his links are in the description down below, along with my good friend Chris at S Reptilia, which is a one-stop shop, basically. If you need ball pythons, blood pythons, colubrids, different locales of boas, different types of colubrids as well. He also, if you're in Eastern PA, he breeds rats as well, so hit him up for rats. He's also Pennsylvania's distributor of the chipper and Cocoa to Go, which is by far, in my opinion, the best cocoa substrate on the market, especially Cocoa to Go. I love that stuff. Definitely hit Chris up if you're interested. Let him know Jeremy sent you. So that's going to be it. Also, if you're not using Husbandry Pro, please do so. Click our affiliate link down below, or scan the QR code there. Free 30-day trial to Husbandry Pro. Guarantee you will not regret it. And also, we're not affiliated with them yet, but Redline Shipping is definitely giving me some nice shipping prices. So definitely check out Redline Shipping, folks. Here's a code Robin60 for 2 shipments with 60% off of the retail rate. Definitely worth it. And on top of it, it's been great. Redline Shipping's been great with me so far. I've just started using them this year. I was using Ship Your Reptiles, but Redline Shipping, it's the same quality as Ship Your Reptiles and everybody else. Maybe the customer service might even be a little bit better. They've got all your shipping products that you need: boxes, heat packs, cool packs, the cryo packs, all that good stuff, snake bags. But the prices are cheaper, folks. Even like one of my base starting off price was several dollars cheaper than everybody else. So definitely hit Robin up at Redline Shipping and try them out, and let them know if there's a place to put in where you heard about using them. Tell them Jeremy sent you, and who knows, maybe they'll start, maybe they'll become a sponsor of the channel in the future. Time will tell, but definitely check them out. I greatly appreciate them working with me a little bit there on some prices, but definitely check them out. And thank you, Robin, as well. Everybody, I hope you all have a good night. Ray, brother, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. But yes, everybody, I hope you guys all had a great night. Erica, David, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
dude, 3, like it doesn't even all these times I hit 3 hours, it doesn't seem like 3 hours. It's
No,
like
it doesn't feel like it on this end either.
yeah, hang out here 1 second while I end this. Everybody, have a great week. This week's video on Wednesday, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what it is yet. I know I've got it made. I just got to remember what it is because I've got a couple videos in the vault. Plus, big news, I forgot to say this in the beginning. This week, our carpet clutch is due to drop. So if she drops this week like she's supposed to on the 19th, be ready for a very interesting clutch pulling in the near future. Plus, we've got clutch number 2 that will be ready to be cut in 2 weeks. So some awesome content coming up here in the near future. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate all the support. And I'll catch you next time. Later.